thought that we'd go this far. Don't stop now. Reaching for a distant star. Don't stop now. Isn't it strange how we're safe at home? Till they're counting days until the second blow. If you're gonna make a change, you have to let me know. Turn this shit around without a doubt belongs. It's all you need to do. Don't stop now. Reaching for a distant star. Don't stop now. Isn't it strange how we're safe at home? Till they're counting days until the second blow. If you're gonna make a change, you have to let me know. Turn this shit around without a doubt belongs. It's all you need to do. reaching for a distant star. Don't stop now. Isn't it strange how we're safe and home? So that counting days until a second glow. If you're gonna make those changes, you have to let me know. Turn this shit around to start a double else. It's all you need to do.
What's going on, people? We are Tottenham TV, back here for another Good Morning Tottenham. The running order of today is we're going to go through a match preview. We've got some headlines for you, and then we're going to have you guys on to have your say. Player ratings to come out a bit later today, as well as the Predict the Prem show. So an action-packed day here from us. Last night, man. Last night.
Yeah. Wasn't very good. Look, I wasn't... As I said last night, I'm looking back at the performance. I think if you're looking at positives, which are very few, it was better than the first leg. We're probably unlucky not to get one goal out of the performance in the end. We showed some fight in the second half, but unfortunately, you know, Chelsea were never in danger. You know, they had the whole time to control. They only. I feel like they only let us back in the game because they took the foot off the gas. They threw it up in the tie. I feel like they didn't need to.
I felt they beat us in both games without really getting out of second gear. Really,
yeah.
In the both ties.
I think more this one they didn't get out of second gear. The first one I thought they were maybe not their best, but they were pretty good. But this time, yesterday, I don't think Chelsea were good at all.
Even when you say they were pretty good in the first leg, it was only really the first half. For 45 minutes, they were really good. They were good. I wouldn't say really good. And second half, you know, they didn't even do much. We gave them 3 goals throughout the tie. That was the only 3 goals that were scored. I mean, just not good enough from Tottenham. But I've got to say this. I know people probably don't want to hear it, but I think Antonio Conte got it wrong in both legs. I'm not saying if he would have got it right, it would have done anything to change the tie, but I don't think he gave us the best chance of winning in both ties.
What could he have done in the first leg?
In the first leg, I thought he should have packed the midfield with 3 men, made it a bit more difficult for Chelsea. I can't remember what the left-back situation was for the first leg.
We played Doherty.
I know we played Doherty, but was Reguilon fit?
I know him and they were both out of the squad, I think.
But I think for sure, in the first leg, the setup of the team was wrong. I thought we should have put 3 men in midfield. You saw in the second half when we changed it. I know we didn't put 3 in midfield, but we put 4 at the back. Or did we put 3 in midfield in the second half? Anyway, he changed it.
We put 4 at the back in the second half.
He changed it in the second half, and we looked a lot better. But the damage was pretty much done by then. Yesterday, I thought I had no clue why he played Galini, no clue why he played Doherty, no clue why Skip didn't play. Well, I do have a bit of a clue because he needs a bit of a rest, but Højbjerg needs a rest too, although Højbjerg was probably one of our better players yesterday. And I don't know, I just feel like Conte didn't make the right decisions, even though I'm saying that even if he did make the right decisions, we probably still wouldn't have won. But still.
Would make us more competitive.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I think yesterday, I don't get why Lloris didn't play. That was very confusing to me. And when it comes to the left back situation, I understand. Okay, look, Reguilon's not the squad. I don't know why. I don't know the reason. So you let that slide.
Well,
but why?
I actually read last night. I don't know how true it is, but you know Vaz Coney.
Yeah.
He said that that Reguilon, they were protecting a hamstring problem. That's what I heard.
Okay,
but I don't know if it's true or not.
It might be true. If it is true, whatever. I don't really know why he wasn't in the squad, but I'd say that's true. That's fair enough. But why not play Session? I didn't get it. Why start with Doherty when we've seen how inept he's been recently at that left wing back position? He's so poor there. Every time we get forward, the move breaks down as soon as it hits Doherty, and we know how crucial we are at the attacking phase using our wing backs. And I thought it was really poor. And then obviously, him and Galini, those are the two main ones. I thought
Tanganga for me. Tanganga, last 2 games, he's had a horror show, man. He's had a horror show. Why not just stick Joe Rodon in there, man? He's on the bench anyway.
Rodon has been much better.
I mean, Tanganga has made detrimental mistakes in his last 3 games now. In his last 3 games, lost a man in the corner for the first leg, lost a man in the corner for the second leg, and what was the one before? I can't remember, but it was also a detrimental mistake.
Morecambe.
Was it Morecambe he made a mistake in?
He lost a man, didn't he?
Well, there you go.
The
So there's
corner.
3 games in a row. So I think Rodon should have played. I'm not saying these decisions would have made us win the game, but with the state Tanganga's in at the moment, you can see he's clearly lacking with confidence. You can see there's an issue there. And I think something hasn't looked right with Tanganga since that Crystal Palace game. He hasn't, and I wouldn't have played him yesterday. I wouldn't have. Would you?
No, I would have played Rodon, but that's my opinion. I don't know. Like, it's not like Rodon has done like something. Like, it's not as if Rodon has convinced me that we should have played him. If you understand,
Because he hasn't played.
Yeah, exactly. But it's like it's not like It's not like he left out Dyer for Tanganga. If you understand, it's like it's Rodon. You know what I mean? It's not like we know that. I'm convinced that if Rodon would have come in, things would have been different. It could have been the same. So I don't know.
It could have been, but if Tanganga's making these mistakes every single game, then why not change it up?
Yeah, but I don't think it's a terrible decision to stick with Tanganga, who we've seen have good games in other in other big games.
We haven't seen him have a good game since that Man City game, pretty much.
Yeah, when was the last time we saw Rodon have a good game?
When's the last time we saw him play, apart from Morecambe?
Morecambe.
Apart from Morecambe, when he was playing with an injury.
Don't know.
Exactly. So, I mean, give the guy a chance at least.
Right, I'm just saying it's not like putting in. It's not like I don't count that as a mistake, in my opinion. Not playing Hugo over Galini, that's a mistake. Playing Tanganga over Rodon, I don't see that as a mistake.
I get what you're saying. I completely get what you're saying. But all I'm saying is with the state Tanganga is at the moment, I just think he needs a bit of time out of the team.
Yeah, you can
He needs a
argue
loan
that.
move.
You can argue that.
That's my case for it.
Yeah, I agree. He definitely needs. I think he needs a loan deal. He needs to be playing week in, week out at a club where they rely on him, rather than us, where he's in this position, that position, we're in and out of the team all the time. It's no good for him. He's not getting any rhythm, and that definitely needs to happen. Yeah, look, as soon as that first goal went in, the tie was pretty much over, wasn't it? After 15 minutes.
As soon as the lineups were called out, I think the tie was over pretty much. I mean, I woke up with probably deluded confidence yesterday, thinking that, maybe we can do something, we've seen it before, stranger things have happened, all that. I thought at home with the fans, if we're aggressive and we get an early goal, then maybe something could happen yesterday. But as soon as the lineups were announced, I just lost all sense of confidence whatsoever. I just didn't understand it. And yeah, we came out and played all right for the first 10 minutes, but we still didn't lay a glove on them. But yeah, as you say, as soon as the goal goes in, that's it for the rest of the game.
Yeah, and it's easy for Chelsea after that. I just felt like, as much as he could have made some changes, Conte, I just felt like we were fighting a losing battle. I just think Chelsea are the better team. I actually think our performance yesterday
But you can beat a better team if you have the right attitude, the right mentality, if you're aggressive, if you're, you know what I mean? You can
Correct,
beat a better
but
team.
it's also sometimes a better team are just better.
Yeah.
And I think yesterday, I don't think we had the wrong attitude. I really don't. I think we tried hard. I think we tried to force our way into the game. You know, as you say, we started for 10 minutes like trying to force the issue a bit. But Chelsea, ultimately, if they because they're the better team, if they have the right attitude, it's very, very hard to overcome that. And then, especially with the injury, the players we have missing and the players coming in for those players missing, that's such a downgrade. Then all of a sudden it becomes even harder. Conte said you could have played that game 10 times, and he said, I think he said 9 times out of 10 Chelsea win. And that's the case, I think, unfortunately for us. That's not an indictment on Conte or the players, just where we are at the moment as a squad. When we play teams at the level of Chelsea, who have an unbelievable squad, we need to be we have to have our very best lineup just to have a chance of winning the game.
Yeah.
As soon as
just a chance to be competitive in the game.
As soon as we have 2 or 3 injuries, as Conte said yesterday, we're in trouble, and I think we saw that yesterday. You know, Chelsea can afford to have 2 or 3 injuries, and it doesn't affect them because if Silva's injured, you got Christensen coming in, and if James is injured, you got Azpilicueta coming in, and if Kante doesn't start, you got Kovacic and Jorginho coming in.
Their whole bench could get into our first 11.
Exactly. So for me to be pissed off and annoyed that we got outplayed by a team that's better than us that's not annoyed about. I actually think, in general terms, like if you look at the 90 minutes as a whole, I generally don't think we did that badly. We were actually probably unlucky to lose the game. That singular game, we were probably unlucky. So I don't know if Conte could have done much more with the players that were actually on the pitch. He could have obviously made a few individual things, you could argue, but I don't think that would have probably changed the overall picture of the game. Maybe it could have meant the game finished 1-1 instead of 1-0. That's all that would have changed if he brings in Session or Lloris. So I don't think it's the. I'm not angry at the performance. I'm angry and annoyed that our squad is this poor that it literally takes an injury to Dyer and our back four is a shambles. That's literally the situation.
That's the case, isn't it? Because you can. I can call out Conte as much as I want for whatever he did, and play Galini, play Doherty, yeah, fair enough, whatever. But ultimately, the blame doesn't lie with him. The blame doesn't lie with the players on the pitch. The blame lies with the hierarchy for putting us in this situation. That's where the blame lies, and we can talk about Conte's decision and the players not being good enough till the cows come home, but what's the point anymore? Because we need new players desperately if we're going to salvage anything from this season.
Yeah, like
desperately.
When you've got a player like Eric Dyer, who, by the way, as much as he's playing well, he's not the best. He's not like an unbelievable. He's definitely, even he is an upgradable player, but he's our first choice.
Again, shows the state of the squad.
And when he's injured, it's Tanganga or Rodon. That's who comes in. Right, so either one of them, you could say, "Oh, we should have picked this guy or that guy." Either one of them is a massive, massive downgrade on Dyer.
Yeah,
and that's a downgrade on a player who could be upgradable.
Yeah,
so
it's a downgrade on a player that we wanted out last window.
Exactly. So that's the difference when you're competing against a team like Chelsea. I actually think obviously we can complain and whatever, and we can say, the state of the squad, and it's absolutely right when we're looking to compete for the top four and big things. If we played against a lesser team yesterday, for example, we've played against an Everton, if we played against a Villa, if we played against anyone but a top four team, I think we have more of a chance. But when you play against a team like Chelsea, City, and Liverpool in this kind of game, and we're always going to be found out with that kind of lineup. It was always going to happen, and with this squad, basically a few injuries, always going to be found out. Yeah. And that's where we are. We were outplayed by a much better team, who are much better players, and a manager who's been there for a much longer time. So that's just reality for me. That's not I wasn't angry with Conte or the players yesterday. That wasn't my feeling after the game. I understand a lot of fans' reactions after the game is always immediately to go, "Oh, where's the passion? They weren't fighting, or all this way, they're pathetic." All this.
I think they were trying their hardest yesterday.
Yeah, that wasn't my feeling yesterday. I was watching the game.
I think they were trying their hardest yesterday, and their hardest is not good enough.
That's reality.
That's the ultimate thing.
And that's even sadder in a way.
Yeah, it is. And you can't really, as much as I said what I said just before about Conte, you can't really blame him for trying new things because ultimately he's trying to fit in like square pegs in round holes and trying to make stuff happen and make stuff work and change things. But you can't change things because this squad is in an absolute dire state. Dire state.
But one thing I would say is,
No pun intended there.
one thing I would say is obviously he was explaining his decision to to rest Lloris for Galini. And he said we have a lot of big games coming up, and we have 3 games in a week or whatever. And Galini played every game in the cup before Galini played every game in the cup before yesterday. So, but did you think maybe Conte underestimated how big of a game it was yesterday? And did he prioritise the North London derby?
I mean,
And if he did, is he right to do that?
I think he did underestimate how big of a game it is because I would have played completely the strongest 11 from the off yesterday. Hugo included, Sessegnon included. But look, we can talk about the selection, but like we keep saying, like even if we did have our first team, we still probably wouldn't have gone through yesterday.
I know, but I'm just wondering where Conte's priorities are. Is his priority, do you think, as of yesterday for the North London derby?
I mean, you've got to say it is because he didn't play his best team yesterday. So I think that, I don't know. I just don't know where that decisions came from yesterday. I really don't, because what you associate Conte with is a guy who wants to win trophies, right?
Mm-hmm.
The trophy is the top 4 is not a trophy. We're in a semi-final. I know we're 2-0 down, but at 2-0 it's still salvageable. So I just don't understand why he didn't play his best team yesterday. It must be resting players for North London derby. There's no other explanation.
Yeah, that doesn't make too much sense to me, I guess. And that's what I'm thinking. He must have been thinking that he thought the North London derby might be the more important game. Obviously, when it comes to the race to the top 4 and stuff, it's very important. But we can technically afford to lose the North London derby, or even draw the North London derby, and still be in a decent position in the league in terms of points and gaps and whatever. But the semi-final is a semi-final. If you're out, you're out. That's it.
Yeah, but the thing is, the way he's looking at it, potentially could be like if he plays Sessegnon's got a history of injuries. If Sessegnon overdoes it yesterday and comes off injured, then we're screwed for the next 3 games. We've got Arsenal, Leicester, and Chelsea all in the space of a week coming up in the league.
So maybe that's how he's feeling. Maybe
that's the way he's thinking about it.
Yeah, maybe just thought it could be a very big week for us, and if we get too many bad results, then all of a sudden the league table can be looking very different.
Yeah, so we've got at half time of the Chelsea game, not half time of the game yesterday, but at the middle of the in between the first leg and the second leg is what I mean by half time. Yes, we're losing 2-0, and yes, we've got a fighting chance in the game because it's only 2-0, but we all know we're pretty much basically out, don't we?
Yeah.
So maybe that's just the way he's looking at it, but I think it was just a bit of a defeatist mentality from Conte with that lineup yesterday. But from what I said, with the 3 games coming up in the space of a week, then I can probably just about see his argument, to be honest, because it is valid because it's 3 massive games, isn't it?
Yeah, and you don't want to also, as much as we want a trophy, we need to make sure that we're still get in that fight for that top 4 and being very competitive, because ultimately, as much as some fans don't want to hear it, top 4 is very important, and Champions League is very important, and it's about not only convincing players like Kane and the like that the club's heading in a better direction and they want to be on the big stage, also attracting players to come here. Champions League football is very important. So and the club, he's obviously clearly been told by the club to prioritise, so they're always going to tell him to prioritise that, aren't they? So
just like they did with Jose.
Exactly. So that doesn't surprise me.
Now it's in a cup final, not semi-final.
Yeah, which is ridiculous. But so that doesn't surprise me. So that's always going to be the case, isn't it? If there's a choice, he's always probably going to prioritise the chase for the Champions League than a trophy like that.
Yeah. And it's just especially because of these 3 games all in the space of 1 week. They're so important. We need to at least pick up 4 points in the next 3 games. Mm-hmm. We have to. at least minimum 4 points. You would say in the next 3 games. So
Yeah.
can you see it? I can't at the moment.
Well, I wouldn't put it beyond us.
I'm not saying I wouldn't put it beyond us.
I can. Yeah, why
Definitely got
not?
it in us, but 4 points is a big ask in the next 3 games.
Look, as much
way we're
as
playing at the
I
moment.
understand, yeah. Look, 4 games in a row now. We're not been playing well. 2 legs against Chelsea. Watford, we only scraped by 1-0. When Southampton, we only got the draw, which we
Morecambe as
should have won.
well.
Morecambe, yeah, okay, as well. More, so 5 games in a row. But so, we lost to Chelsea twice, but we are still unbeaten in the league.
Yeah.
By with that after 8 games. It's really not that unthinkable that we could get a draw against Arsenal and beat Leicester and then lose to Chelsea. That's not like
I'm not saying
crazy
it's
to think.
unthinkable. I'm not saying it's unthinkable. We've definitely got it within us, but I think at the moment, with the way we're playing, with the way Arsenal are playing, look, let's be honest. We're going to Stamford Bridge. We're not getting anything from Stamford Bridge. Let's be honest. 2 games against Arsenal and Leicester. We need to find 4 points from those 2 games.
Well, if Dyer is back, and obviously Lloris is back in there, then we have either Reguilon or Sessegnon at left wing back. I give ourselves much more of a chance. Much more of a chance.
I give ourselves more of a chance in North London derby than the Leicester game.
Why?
Because we're terrible away from home. We just can't play away from home.
I'm
We're
beaten in the last
so
2.
bad.
Got 4 points out of the last 2.
Come on, man.
We have.
One was against Watford, and the other one was a poor performance against Southampton.
Still 4 points out
I
of
know
the
it's
last
still
2.
4 points, and Leicester are much better than those 2 teams.
Then Leicester have also been poor at home as
Still
well.
much better than those 2 teams.
Still
are.
poor though. There's no reason why we can't go there and get a win.
Look, I'm not saying there's no reason. Of course, we can go there and get a win.
Vardy's out for 8 weeks.
I'm just not backing us to go in there and get a win. Like, if you're a betting man, would you actually go and put money on Spurs going and beat Leicester?
Depending on the lineups.
Because I wouldn't.
Depends on the lineups. If Dyer's there and if Reguilon or Sessegnon is there, and then depend. I have to see
And
the
let's
lineup.
be honest, we just about scraped past Watford with a last-minute goal.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's a tall order. With our away form, we've got massive question marks against our away form right now. This whole season, we've been terrible away from home.
Yeah, I'm not saying we'll batter Leicester. We could. There's no reason. We could. It depends if we've got our back four or our strongest back, our strongest defense there. We could even include Romero by the sounds of things. Then, if we can keep it solid and get a goal, we could nick a win.
We can, but will we? That's the question.
Why not?
Why? Oh, there's many reasons why not.
Leicester, no one to fear this season.
No, they're not. But, they can also pull it out the bag in a one-off game, and they seem to like playing against us sometimes. What is Leicester's form, actually, at the moment? Have they not turned it around slightly recently?
It's still inconsistent.
They beat Watford 4-1 in the Cup. They beat Liverpool 1-0 in the Premier League. They lost to Man City
they should have lost that
6-3.
game.
They beat Newcastle 4-0. I mean, they're not on terrible form by any stretch of the imagination. Their home form, they've won their last 5 home games.
What, in a row?
Yeah.
So they've turned it around a bit at home.
So, and not only have they won their last 5 games at home, they've scored 4, 3, and then 1 against Liverpool. So, I mean, they are playing well at home at the moment.
Okay, but I still find them inconsistent.
Yeah,
But it's still 2 games away. You don't know what the situation will be when we
that's true.
play them.
That's true. That's true. But look, let's move on. We've got some headlines to talk about.
Talk about the other one first, Jake.
Let's talk about this tweet from Ali Gold this morning. It's what every Spurs fan has been fearing pretty much since Conte has joined. I'm going to get it up for you. Just give me 1 second. Oh, and it's actually hard to read. And it says, have you got the article up?
Yeah.
But I'll just read what the tweet says, and then we can go into deeper in the article. Here's a piece on Antonio Conte's happiness, fears from some of the players that he might walk if he's not backed this month. So, I mean, this is what everyone's been fearing. I said on the fan show yesterday, if he's not back this month, if he doesn't get a signing in this month, then I'm pretty confident he will walk in February. What's the article? How in depth does it go?
Well, he just talked about Conte's time at the moment at Spurs. Says his training sessions have been described as incredible by players and staff within the club. So there's only so much he can do with what he has. It is understood that Conte has been extremely candid in his assessment of the club and his squad during multiple discussions with Chairman Daniel Levy since he arrived, with plenty of home truths delivered publicly and privately about the level Spurs are at. Now, Football London understands that some of the Tottenham players fear Conte could walk next month if he is not backed with new signings to improve the squad during the remainder of the transfer window. However, following what has been described by all sides as a very honest and positive meeting on Monday between Conte and other Spurs hierarchy, including Levy and Paratici, there is little fear within the club of such an immediate departure. And he goes on to say the crunch of the window in that regard is expected to be the summer one, and whether Conte feels that the club is moving in the right direction to meet his ambition during that period.
So, what do you take from that?
Well, I mean, the players obviously with him a lot more, aren't they? And they're with him on the training ground, and he might be having discussions with Levy and Paratici, but the players are the ones who see his demeanour. They're the ones who see his body language and how he reacts to things and how he is on a day to day in that sense on the training ground. So you could think they might have a better kind of I don't know what the word I'm looking for. They could see better what maybe he could be thinking rather than Levy or Paratici, where they're having positive meetings, but they're not with him as much as the players are. So do the players have a better inkling of what could be going through his head? Obviously, it's a fear that we've had ever since he got appointed, that he could walk at any moment, just because we've done this to other managers where we've promised them things and we haven't delivered, and then we've hung them out to dry and they end up getting sacked. So Conte's not that kind of manager to take that on the chin, and he's done it before where if he's not happy with the hierarchy, lets it be known, and he could easily walk. I personally, if we don't sign anyone, I don't know what. Who knows? That could maybe happen. I do think if we get a couple of signings, I don't think he's walking. It depends, I guess, what you mean by being backed. I still find it hard to believe he's going to walk next month, but we all know this has been a fear from a lot of fans ever since he signed, that this guy is not going to take any shit from this board like other managers have. And he's a manager who doesn't need to risk his reputation like this. In that sense, he could get a lot of jobs in world football.
You know what I mean? He could leave Spurs in February, get the Man United job at the end of the season, get completely backed, and go win titles next season. Literally.
Exactly. So we've got to be very careful with how we're approaching this right now. We have to make sure that we're giving him a squad that's competitive, and that's and a squad that he can really feel like he can challenge with. Otherwise, he's not, like, as much as Conte understands that right now it's a process and whatnot. He isn't a man. Every team he's been at, they challenge. They're competing for big things, and it must be killing him watching that two-legged tie, and how out of our depth we were in this kind of game. It must have really, really hurt him to see Chelsea being so much better than us in over those two legs. And
he would have known it before the game even kicked off anyway.
Of course he would. So we have to give him the tools to work with, because right now there's only so much he can do, as that article said, and that's what I saw from. That's what I saw from the game. There's only, like, as much as he can do, so much. And we're struggling behind badly. George Bannister, who tweets sometimes about Spurs news, he said,
"We need to get this guy on the channel. Who is he?" I
don't really know who he is, but he seems to have some sort of information. He says, "Just to be careful to seek context on stuff that's coming out today." Ari Conte. Players are always the most outspoken, but those opinions aren't necessarily unanimously shared.
Okay.
So you're saying it's not everyone who believes that,
yeah,
from players' point of view.
To be honest, you know who I think is the ringleader of thinking this?
Who, Kane?
Exactly.
I wouldn't be surprised because Kane is more than most have got interest in Tottenham improving the squad and moving in the right direction, and they're both winners, him and Conte. So I wouldn't be surprised if that happened. And we know if Conte, if the worst was to happen and Conte was to leave next month, if he was to walk, then Kane will again push for a move in the summer. Now that of course it will, of course that will happen, and then they will have a domino effect, which I'm not sure we can recover from for a very long time. If we've got basically Conte's given us
A last chance saloon.
yeah, he's given us a chance now of actually getting back to where we were a few years ago by him being here. He's fighting like we were going nowhere before he came here. All of a sudden, you got a bit of thing of light. What do you call it?
A little glimmer.
A glimmer.
Coming through. A little glimmer
Exactly.
coming through.
And we got to make sure we don't let this another opportunity slip us by. We did under Poch. You know, we had an opportunity where we actually were ahead of a lot of teams, and if we would have pushed on from that moment, we could have easily been a team where we could have won something, or even, you know, stayed ahead of these teams. But we didn't. We let that opportunity that we had slip, and we've now been festering for a couple of years now in the absolute wilderness, absolutely nowhere. Conte's now got a lot of the fan base believing we have a manager that could actually take us somewhere, and we got to make sure that we handle this opportunity and we take it with both hands. We can't let Conte slip through the cracks.
Absolutely spot on. Absolutely spot on. It's too many times now we've set up our managers to fail. And, you know, we might have set up Pochettino and Jose Mourinho to fail, but I don't think we've ever set up a manager like we're setting up Conte. I mean, look, I know it's only, 13 days into the window, nearly halfway now. I had that big debate with Brian Daigle after 7 days in, calling for calm, calling for patience. But the anxiety is starting to set in now. The anxiety is starting to set in now because it just seems like it's going the same way as it always does.
Yeah,
That's what it seems like.
Same shit.
That's what it seems like. I mean, as much as I called for calm after 7 days, I still stand by that because 7 days is 7 days. But now we're nearly halfway, 2 days, and we're halfway into the window.
Yeah.
2 days. Once it gets to 20 days and we haven't signed anyone, then the real panic is going to set in.
The thing that annoys me though is I understand the calls for patience, and unfortunately that's the situation. We do, you know, when Conte only had finished evaluating his squad like a couple of weeks ago and all that kind of stuff. And apparently I'm hearing a rumour that Paratici had COVID and that delayed some negotiations. Really? I heard a rumour
He
that
can't speak on the phone when he has COVID?
I don't know, but why are we in this situation that Conte only finished evaluating his squad last week, 2 weeks ago? Why is that?
Why? Because Conte only finished because he only came in beginning of November.
There we go. Why did he only come in the beginning of November?
We know
Exactly.
Why,
So it all leads
idiots at the top of the club.
So even all these things about calling for patience, I only need patience because of the board. Yeah. It all leads from the board anyway.
It always does.
It always does. So it's their fault why we're in this situation where we need to be patient. All this rubbish. Like this all leads back to them. If Conte was here in the summer. If Conte had that whole summer to look at his squad and really evaluate it and even have some of the transfer budget in the summer to get what he wants and whatever, we wouldn't be in this desperate need to do so much business in January. January is not a window you should be looking to revamp the squad. That's not a window you should be looking. But unfortunately,
one or two additions,
exactly,
just to spur you on a little bit.
Exactly, but unfortunately, we're in a situation where that's necessary.
We need a rebuild in January.
In January, and we shouldn't be in that situation. But we've been put in that situation by a completely incompetent hierarchy who have left us in a situation where
time and time again,
where the manager is again. Nuno was late. Even Nuno was appointed late. That was for the summer, and he was even appointed late to evaluate the squad in the summer.
71 days, 75 days, whatever it was.
But he was appointed, like a week or 2 weeks before the season started or something like that.
Literally. Did he take pre... Yeah, I think he took pre-season.
He did, but I think he was appointed literally 31st of July and season started 14th of August. So he was appointed late, and now he's had 10 games and gone. Now we've got Conte in November, and now he has to evaluate his squad. So we've pretty much wasted 6 months, pretty much having our dick in our hands, doing nothing.
By clowns. I mean, I'm gonna save my assessment for the end of the window. I'm trying not to panic. I'm trying not to go too hard, but you know that this is going the same way. This is what it feels like. It's going the same way. But
every time. It's
I
what
mean,
it
we have
feels
to
like.
save our evaluation till the end of the window, though. We just have to. I mean, there's no other option, is there?
Look, there is still time to make deals, to get deals done, and all that kind of stuff. So,
and I'm actually happy these performances are coming in a transfer window period.
Yeah, and maybe that'll force our hand. And Levy, there was a shot of Levy in the stadium yesterday watching on, and hopefully you can see yesterday
nice
that
tan about him and his nice.
Yeah, of
trip
course
to
he
the
did.
Bahamas.
Of course he did. Do I think Conte walking next month is a real possibility? I still find it hard to believe, as much as some players might think it.
I only think it's a possibility if he doesn't get anyone.
Then yeah, but I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think that's going to happen.
What about if we just get one? Let's say we sell Bergwijn and bring in Adama. Those are the only 2 deals that we do.
That's bare less. That's basically not signing anyone.
Exactly.
So I don't know.
But that's the only viable rumours we're hearing at the moment.
Yeah, but we've seen it before with Tottenham, where someone can come out of nowhere and we can get the deal done. Like it's happened before.
It has happened before, but I'm not holding my breath right now. I'm really not. I mean,
I don't know why the Adama deal was taking so long. Like, do we want him or not? You know what I mean? It's like we want him, but then there's 20 million, but actually we want a loan with an obligation to buy, and we're not going to stump up the cash.
It's always the same when we sign anyone. It's always the same when we sign anyone. You know what?
Get the deal done quickly.
This is how much we want. All right, this is how much we'll offer you. You want 20 million? All right, we'll offer you 15 million. No, we don't want 15 million. All right, do you want a loan then? And an obligation to buy at the end? No, we want 20 million. All right, fine. Let's offer you 16 million then. You know
Levy always has to feel like he has won the negotiation. Always has to win the negotiation.
Man, it's so tiring.
And it is in the past in some deals, it's worked out where he has put more, but it's becoming as time goes on.
It's helped us.
As time goes on, if you look at overall picture, you probably would say it's it's hindered us way more in terms of what we could be doing.
Yeah.
And I don't think he realizes that.
How can you? I don't understand. How can you not realize it? Fucking hell! Look in front of your eyes, man. See what you're doing on a weekly basis. Every single transfer window is the same jargon.
But if players, if these are rumours coming out from players about Conte could walk, what do you think is going through a lot of the players' minds when about this kind of situation?
I mean, it's even worse than when Danny Rose went to the Sun. I mean, Danny Rose was saying it. How long ago? How long ago was it when Danny Rose was saying that we need players,
5 years
we need
ago.
good players? I mean, that was 5 years ago now. Recruitment in the last 5 years have been absolutely shocking. I think that this has been going through the players' minds for a long time. I know we haven't had Conte for a long time, but in terms of the fact that Levy needs to back the manager.
But in terms of a genuine fear about Conte walking next month, if it is genuine, but how does that play into players' psychology? Like, does it make them? Do they genuinely believe he could be gone, and then all of a sudden, does that affect how they perform, and does it affect whether they have those doubts?
I think every player is different. Obviously, every player has different psychology. Everyone's got a different mentality. When you're looking at players like Harry Kane, if he's got that fear, he's not showing it because I think he's playing well at the moment, Harry Kane, and I think he's trying to pull that burden on the team on the back of his shoulders. He's trying to take the scraps, and he's trying to pull through and trying to make stuff happen for Conte. But maybe I don't know. It's a hard question, man. It's a hard question. I think some players will kind of be disillusioned with it and maybe not try, but maybe subconsciously lose a bit of faith with it all, and maybe it'll look to the eye like they're not trying. And some players will try their best to try and salvage the situation. I think you can't say it's the same for each and every player in terms of what they're feeling.
I know, but I just wonder if there is a genuine belief in the squad that he might walk, like whether that makes them like I don't know whether that affects their performance in some way, or whether it affects their thinking like this guy could be gone in a month. Do I need to listen to him? I don't know. Like I hope that's not what they're thinking or anything, but who knows? But yeah,
It's a difficult question, isn't it? I mean, it's hard to know what's inside the players' heads. It's hard to know how they're thinking, and it's hard to know what reaction we can get out of them. And we just need the board to stump up, man. That's just the bottom line here.
definitely, that's
the bottom line.
definitely true. But yeah.
All right, let's move on and let's talk about the Tanguy Ndombele situation at Spurs right now. Wasn't in the squad yesterday. Conte was asked after the game yesterday in his post-match interview, and it was kind of interesting quotes. Do you have the quotes in front of you?
I don't have them, but I remember them. He said that it was a technical decision that he made to leave Ndombele out the squad. He said it wasn't a decision he would have made if not having talked to the club first. And he said there is a line from the club, and I have to keep to the club line.
So what does he mean by that?
I think maybe he means like I'm assuming he just means that we're trying to offload him. I don't want to basically say that on I don't want to say that on camera that we're literally looking to sell him, but basically I don't want him involved. We maybe don't want him getting injured, so we're going to look to sell him. And I don't want to outwardly say it to everyone because in case maybe he comes back in the squad later in the month, but I can't. That's what I think he's saying by I have to stick to the club line. I think he's just saying. I think he's trying to say without saying it that he's up for sale.
Yeah.
But Dan Gilpatrick was reporting this morning about Ndombele, saying that Conte did leave Ndombele out of the squad after having a talk with Paratici, and obviously them deciding to sell him. They've now decided not to use him for the time being. So that is the decision at the moment with Ndombele. So it does look increasingly likely that we might have seen the last of him in a Spurs shirt by the looks of things.
Though, if we can't find a buyer for him, he's going to have to come back in.
Of course, but when you're leaving him out like we are, that obviously increases the chances of him, I would say, going, because you're probably more willing to make a few.
I mean, didn't we do the same with Dele Alli last January?
Didn't we do the same with Dele Alli last January? We did. And PSG came in for him. We said no.
we left him out of the team because he's subject to a transfer.
Yeah, but he was never in the team.
No, he wasn't in the team. But there was that game. Was it Fulham? Was it just after the transfer window? Was it just before the
just
transfer
after
window, where he played really well? So it shows that maybe we could have used him at some points, but I don't know, man. It's a very, very difficult situation with Ndombele. We need him because we need creativity in midfield. But
I think
performances like he has been put in, then what's the point?
Yeah, I think it's going to be a loan deal. I think we're going to loan him out, and then maybe with an option to buy to someone. I think that's the best. That's the best solution for all parties, because I think Conte just doesn't trust him. I think he doesn't want to be at Tottenham, so he doesn't have that extra motivation at the moment to really be putting everything into it. You can see that at the moment when he's on the pitch, he just doesn't seem to be. Nothing seems to be right with him, and I think we need. I think we're desperate at the moment now to get him out the door and trying to open up a space in the squad which we can bring someone in for. So I think we're going to look to loan him out, but who's to say it happens? It's happened, that's the thing.
I mean, someone just mentioned it. Alan just mentioned it in the comments here. That I read it yesterday from Alfredo Padula. I don't know how reliable that is, but I think he's the one that maybe broke the Gareth Bale news first when he signed for us. And he says Napoli don't even want Tanguy due to his wage demands. And it's going to be impossible. 200 grand a week the guy's on.
Yeah.
Who's going to take him?
Like, no one's taking him for that wage.
These foreign clubs in Italy, Spain, blah, 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 they're not going to pay those wages.
No, they're not. They're not. They're going to pay 150. You know
what I mean.
So
if we want him out the door, we're going to need to stump up probably half of his wages.
Yeah, probably. That's still
100 grand a week off the books, though.
I guess it's ridiculous. I can't believe he's on 200 grand a week. It's ridiculous. But I just think, I think a loan deal is the only way we get rid of him right now. I think a permanent transfer is out of the question. I think it has to be a loan, and but it's become very increasingly clear that we really want him out the door now. That's become obvious, and hopefully some movement can happen. It's a situation where I really hoped it wouldn't come to, because I do think he's seriously talented, but sometimes it just doesn't work out with players, and they just don't. there's not the right fit. And unfortunately, he's come to Tottenham. I do think he's been mismanaged as well since he's come in. I don't think we probably play the best. He's probably. I don't think he's right for how we want to play. Unlike, if he was at a different club, say City or something, he'd probably be more suited to that. But still, it's a situation where we've got a very talented player on big wages and big money, and it's come to a situation where we're desperate for him to go, and it's annoying and sad, but that's where we are at the moment.
It's true. Like, I was listening to what Stel was saying yesterday, a couple of days ago on Ndombele, and he was saying, like, Ndombele came here, club record signing, 200 grand a week, pay parity with Harry Kane, to play in a Pochettino team, just got into the Champions League final, blah, 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 playing amazing football at times. I know, we were declining, but still, we make these signings to get back to where we were. He comes into a team that's structurally set up to play attacking football, pressing football, dominating football, possession-based football. And then within 3 months, Mourinho's in.
Exactly.
And it's complete change of philosophy, complete change of everything. And he's thinking, that's not what I came here for.
And not only that, we've jumped from philosophy to philosophy since then as well. So it's been a bit of a mess. So I from that aspect, I do feel a bit for Ndombele, but still, I don't think he's helped himself.
Yeah, I completely agree with that.
He hasn't helped himself either. So I think it's both parties are to blame. But then in that aspect, you got to feel like maybe it's just better to split.
And let's be honest though. Let's be honest about it. When we signed Ndombele, we were made aware of his mentality issues when we were speaking to that Leon channel.
Yeah, he said about it. They said he's an extremely talented player and he's brilliant, but a lot of the times he's very inconsistent and you always wonder why in these small games he just doesn't perform. But
I remember them saying they couldn't believe that we paid 65 million for him.
Yeah, a lot of money.
And right now everything is ringing true what they said.
I think he's got the talent of a 65 million player. It's just the mentality and the mindset, and also he just hasn't settled, I feel, at Tottenham. So it's disappointing, but look, I just hope we can find a solution this month, because I feel like the longer this drags on, because I think, I feel like his teammates are starting to get a bit frustrated with him as well. It seemed that way again in the last game he played. It wasn't just that Kane and Tanganga trying to rush him off the pitch. You saw if you look at that picture, some of the looks the players on the bench were giving him. They were giving him some dirty looks, weren't they? So, and when it gets to that kind of toxic situation, you just got to hope that we can get a split, even if it's short term. And even if he, maybe he comes back next year and it's a different situation. But for now, I think it's better him out the squad. And that's just the situation we're in. And it's annoying and sad.
It's probably better for him not anywhere near the training ground either, to be honest. I mean, we don't want that kind of mentality festering within the squad. It's been there for way too long. And that's just the sad situation of Tanguy Ndombele, because we all know what a player this guy can be.
It's just annoying. You got a player of such talent and we just can't get it to work. It's really annoying. It's so frustrating.
It's the most frustrating thing since he signed, because how many times have we sat here and been like, oh my God, what a player. The guy is amazing.
He's done things on the pitch I've never seen a Tottenham player do.
I mean? And it's like with the ball at his feet, the guy can be a magician, a literal magician. And then his mentality to match it is literally the mentality of a school kid. It's just so depressing. It really is. But look, that's go on.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah,
that's the Tanguy Ndombele situation. I'm sure we're going to be hearing more about it over the coming days. Next up, we're going to be getting your say, but I think we've got a few super chats to get through. I think I've lost quite a lot of them in terms of they've just gone all the way up. But I've got one here from B Singh. D saying Conte wants a right wing back midfielder and attacker. He'll be given a Adama by those in charge and told he covers all 3 positions, so job's done. And you know what? You're probably right, mate. You're probably right. We need like literally 3 or 4 signings minimum this window to be competitive.
Definitely, 100%. I don't understand why they just make them disappear. It's so stupid. These super chats. Yeah, they were.
I've got some
more
here. I've got them all here actually.
Go on then.
I just need to remove this. 1 second. Oh, I can't. This is so stupid. Anyway, I don't know who says it because I've lost the name here, but it says, thoughts on firing Hitchin. Big money has been invested on undesired players over the past couple of years with resounding failures. Half a season with Paratici is simply not enough time to see changes. What do you make out of that one?
I think there's enough time to see changes, but it's not going to all change. It's going to still going to have a lot of problems, even in the short term. So yeah, he's right there, I think.
FPL Pepsi says, will Dyer and Reggie be back for the North London derby?
We don't know, but I would have said Dyer would have been back for yesterday, but he wasn't, was he? So
Yeah, I think Dyer will be back for the North London derby.
I think Conte is praying, praying he
praying,
is as
yeah.
well. In terms of Reggie, I hope so. Yeah, I think so. I would say yeah, but
if he's not back,
knows?
Reggie, play bloody Sessegnon. Don't play Doherty.
Yeah, please don't play Doherty. Oh my God, please.
A new member, Jordan Hussein. Welcome to the family. Welcome to Gold. Ryan Isaac Kennard says, morning guys, players getting restless as well. Spurs aren't doing business. Time to realise it. It'll still be there Sunday though with more banners. I'll still be there Sunday though with more banners. And this is Ryan. Don't know if you saw the vlog, but he was in the vlog with a banner saying longest trophy drought in our history or something. 71 years. 71 years. Longest trophy drought.
There you go.
He was there with the banner. He came to see us after the game. F. Reader there saying, we all know how this ends. I'm mentally preparing for the outcome when Conte walks. My season ticket will be cancelled when it happens.
If Conte does walk, I don't know what will happen, with this fan base and club and if that genuinely happens, how does that play out?
This is going to be the most toxic club probably in world football if it happens, because it was getting toxic before he joined, right?
Yeah, and then he kind of staved it off.
He kind of stabled the ship a bit, but if he walks, oh my God, it's going to be way more toxic than it was in that Man United game. Way more toxic.
Jory said if Conte walks, he's picking a new club.
I was saying if Conte walks, we may as well just start We Are Tottenham TV FC, start from the bottom, and you guys can all come and support us, you know what I mean?
Finito.
It's just an absolute. I just can't even fathom thinking that Conte is going to walk and what the reaction will be. It is going to be a very, very tough.
The thing is with this whole Conte walk thing, it's a situation where, logically, we've always feared it, but I didn't genuinely believe it was an actual possibility. And then Ali Gold posted that this morning. It's like, oh shit, it actually could happen. It's that's actually a possibility.
I always thought it was a genuine possibility.
I never thought it actually was.
I always did.
I didn't think it was. Not now, anyway. I thought in the summer it was, but I didn't think mid-season. But seems like maybe there is some truth to it.
BD Singh with another super chat saying, oh, I read that one.
Guy Dunn is a new one there.
Yeah, Guy Dunn saying, do you not think Conte was making a point by playing the team he did last night, showing Levy just how poor we are? The thing is, no. The thing is, I don't, because I think even if he played the strongest team available, that still shows a point to Levy, you know what I mean? It's still not good enough.
Yeah.
So, I mean, why weaken it even more than we were already weak?
Yeah, I don't think he was making a point. I think he was trying to balance the squad in terms of a bit of rotation and whatnot, and trying to balance playing in these big games. And unfortunately, if we rotate the squad, even if we have a full team out, it's not good enough. So with rotation, we're definitely not good enough, and that's what we saw. We got completely outplayed in over 2 legs. But I don't think he was sending a message. I think the message should be loud and clear.
Exactly, the message is already
he doesn't need to send
exactly. Super chat from Pixels Pencil. No comment, but just a super chat. So thank you very much for the support there. But I think it's time to start bringing on some guests. When's the other one? There. Oh, okay. Let's go to Mikey.
Hey guys.
Hey Mikey, how you doing, mate?
I'm all good. Well, in relative terms, anyway.
What would you do if Conte actually walked next month?
Then I saw a comment on the live stream last time that said Mikey never disappoints and always manages to sneak a couple of swear words, and there'll be a lot more than a couple of swear words. Let me tell you, I'll give up. My patience with this club has been few and far between since the sacking of Pochettino and the induction of Mourinho, and it's wearing extremely thin. The owners, they know if if Conte becomes the fourth man to get away from us in 4 years, four managers in 3 years, then it's and the man of this caliber, because Mourinho was probably past his sell-by date a bit. You're seeing that now at Roma as well. Obviously, Nuno was supposed to be a stopgap, but this is like the first elite manager we've had probably since 2016, 17, 18 Pochettino. Like this is, and if he lets him get away, then the reaction is going to be by far the worst it's ever been, comparable to even the Super League protests, maybe even worse. He knows.
Do you think if you're thinking about it, like with your own opinion, do you think it's a genuine possibility that he could walk next month?
I didn't before this morning, but all of my Insta page was just filled with pics of Conte and the Alistair Gold report saying, "Oh yeah, he could leave."
But don't worry, Mikey. The club's going in the right direction because we've won permission to build 72 new homes and a new cinema outside the new ground.
Oh, great! So we can watch Tottenham be shit on a bigger screen.
You know what? In the cinema, if you go to the cinema, maybe they can replay the '61 season, and we could just watch that one instead.
I can't even begin to think why he was thinking, oh yeah, because the Northumberland development project is not his responsibility. He built the stadium and then he turned it over to the council and say, look, you do your thing. But no, he's still building houses. And I could sit here and berate the performance last night, but I can't say I wasn't expecting it.
Yeah.
I came onto the match preview and I said, everyone was like, yeah, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. And I was just sitting there going, I predict a 1-1 or a better performance than the first leg, but I don't see us turning it around. And I got slated in the comments for it. And now I don't want to be laughing, but I am because I was right. And what hurt is against Chelsea. If it was against the Liverpool or a Man City, I wouldn't care as much. But the fact that it's against arguably our second biggest rival, some would, like I remember Delhi coming out in 2019 and saying that he views Chelsea as more of a rival than Arsenal because of how bad they were back then. But obviously we've gone back down to their level as well. So I'd still say that Arsenal is a bigger rivalry, but I can't imagine us putting in that kind of performance at home against Chelsea in a cup semi-final with that fucking lineup.
Yeah.
But Mikey, you know, the other update from Ali Gold was some players believe that if Conte isn't back this month, he could walk. But what constitutes backing Conte, do you think? Is that one signing, two signings? What's your opinion on that?
I think if Conte this window will be given by the owners just enough to keep until the end, and then we'll really start. I think Conte won't walk because I think Daniel Levy is not stupid. He knows if he gets nothing, Conte will walk because he can't work. Conte is not a miracle worker. He can't get top four with the squad that he has now. We need someone like a Kessie coming in the summer. We need Ndombele out. We need Dele out. We need, Adama is just the tip of the iceberg, the amount of business that we need to do. And I know the summer is definitely going to be the bigger window for that. I'm not expecting a whole new starting 11 this January. I just want two signings to reinvigorate the side, because Adama would be a very invigorating signing because of his power, his pace, and his attitude on the pitch. But we need more than that. We need a new forward signing. We need a creative midfielder that we can actually depend on, because Giovanni Lo Celso is not a right winger. We need so much more, and I know that we're without Steven Bergwijn at the moment, but he looks to be on his way to Ajax. Ajax are reportedly going to come back in with an improved £27 million bid sometime this week. So if we can get, because we paid 27 million, 25 million, or I can't remember how much we paid for him. But,
I think it was around 27, yeah.
So if we get a good return on investment for that, then there's basically 30 million to spend plus however much his wages free up. There's that, and I think I saw reports somewhere that we were interested in signing Isco. I know it was from a very unreliable source, but apparently Isco wanted to come to Tottenham, but that wouldn't be
I mean, I've heard Isco's name linked to Spurs for many a year now.
Back when he was at Malaga.
Yeah, literally. Every year we're pretty much linked with Isco. But what's your gut telling you from now until the end of the window? How many signings do you reckon we'll get in?
2.
2. And will that be enough to convince Conte?
Depends on the caliber of the signings. If it's a Jack Clark situation, then no. But if it's a sorry, if it's a Lucas Moura kind of deal for Adama Traore, then maybe. And one other, I know that there's behind the scenes talk of the Vlahovic deal being bumped up for the summer, Kessie being brought in for the summer, Brozovic having contact, De Vrij, all of these players, but the only concrete links we have with the moment are Adama, and even then we're not matching their demands. The Wolves are saying staunch at 20 million, and we want either a loan and obligation to buy or a 17 million pound one, and Wolves won't take a penny under 20 million.
Yeah.
That's Levy for you.
At the moment, I read somewhere that talks have stalled between Tottenham and Wolves because Levy is refusing to pay the 20 million. He wants 17 million or bust. Same situation again.
Ridiculous.
Same story over and over again, isn't
Mikey, Conte apparently has reportedly left out Ndombele of the squad yesterday after talks with Paratici. That's what the reports from Kilpatrick saying today, that they had talks together and they decided it's better if he's left out for the time being. Do you think it's the last of him? We've seen him in a Spurs shirt, or do you think we might see him again later maybe after the window's closed and we can't sell him?
You will see him if we don't get rid of him by January 31st. You will see him because
you'll see him in your local McDonald's. That's where you'll see him.
We have too thin a squad not to play him. We have too thin a squad to not play Ndombele at least as a rotation option, because even though we're not in Europe, we're still going to have the FA Cup games coming up against Brighton and hopefully make some waves in that competition as well, although I'm not giving it my blessing, shall we say. Obviously the race for top 4 is key to our situation at the moment, but if you're looking from a purely tactical point of view, Ndombele is not a Conte player. Ndombele is a progressive midfielder who needs a solid midfield base behind him, with maybe he's more accommodated to playing as the most forward midfielder in a 4-3-3 with 2 midfielders behind him defending. Like if you were to play a 4-3-3 and have Højbjerg skipping behind Ndombele and giving him the license to roam, then maybe but that's not Conte's system. Conte requires his midfielders to have the utmost work rate. And now if there's one thing that our midfielders do have, it's a good work rate. So if they try and tell us that we're not going to get in anyone that we want and we're just going to get in some stupid ass loan deals, I'm gonna flip. At the end of this window, if I look at Tottenham's transfer dealings and I see one under £10 million signing, a loan deal for a shit player, and I'm gonna flip. I've had it up to fucking heaven and back with Levy's transfer business. I've had it.
There you go. There's the swear word slipped in.
There it is. Sorry. You guys don't get monetized for live streams, do you?
We do.
Oh, I won't swear then.
You can swear,
okay,
Mike.
yeah.
Don't worry about it.
Obviously the match that if we're going to talk about, sorry to change the focus away from Ndombele, I watched him against Morecambe and he was absolutely shocking. The lineup yesterday is baffling. It was truly baffling to me. I didn't give us a sliver of hope before I saw the lineup, and after I saw it, I was like, Galini hasn't kept a clean sheet for us. There goes, it's a bad omen, and he makes the one mistake that led to a goal. He made a good save from Lukaku, but then followed it up with that missed punch from a corner and ends up costing us a goal. It came off Rudiger's neck. How does it come off someone's neck and go in? Like, it
Yeah,
didn't
I
even
don't
come
know.
off his neck. And
It was just
the
a shit
VAR
show all over from the whole. Every single Spurs player that was in that box didn't know what they were doing.
I know.
Galini comes fit, completely misses it. Tanganga completely loses his man. I mean, every single defender in the box loses their men. What is going on?
It happened against Morecambe. I watched it when they scored. Tanganga was supposed to be marking him, and the guy literally just runs away onto the penalty spot and side foots it past Galini.
Yeah.
It was horrible, and I've seen that it's widely reported that Eric Dyer won't be fit for the derby.
Oh, really?
I've seen a couple of reports saying that Dyer won't be fit for the derby and that Reguilon's been frozen out. Not really sure why.
Yeah, I'm not sure what's going on. I mean, I heard a rumor on Twitter that they're kind of he's got some sort of hamstring problem, but I'm not 100% sure if that's true or not. But we'll have to wait and see, won't we? We'll have to wait and see in the Reguilon situation. But if Dyer's not fit for Arsenal, we're in trouble, aren't we?
Fuck, man, we're gonna be absolutely decimated on if Dyer doesn't play and we have to play, because Davinson Sanchez has by no means been great, but he's not been terrible. Davis has been dependable, but it's our third centre back that's caused us problems. It was Joe Rodon against Macclesfield. It was Joe Rodon against Morecambe. It was Tanganga against Chelsea. Romero's not fit enough to come back yet. Eric Dyer's out. At least Sessegnon gives us a good option on the left, but he played Matt Doherty again. Like that, like Galini and goal, I can kind of see it's a cup game. You know, maybe you want to give him a chance to prove himself, like Conte said. Rotating your goalkeeper, keeping the captain fit for the derby. I mean, it's a stretch, but it's at least believable. But playing a right-footed player on the side that he's never played before, when you have a perfectly fit, faster option who's pocketed Mo Salah this season, that's baffling. Like the Matt Doherty decision was baffling to me. To put him in the
like every
starting
time he gets the ball, you just know what he's going to do, don't you? Cut inside, use your right
cut in,
foot.
and then miss the pass. You know,
Yeah.
Yesterday was a game of missed margins. All right, let's be honest, 3 correct shouts. I know the offside rule was a bit. It was a bit.
No, it was right.
It was a bit hazy. A lot of people were saying, "Why is he offside?" But because he's beyond the goalkeeper counts as last man. Which, if that happened to us and it wasn't ruled out for offside, I'd be pretty angry. So, you know, I didn't like it. I was absolutely seething with anger when 2 penalties and a VAR call for a goal went against us. But there were 3 correct decisions. I can't go
without VAR yesterday, it would be the biggest robbery of all time.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, I didn't think VAR was even going to be used yesterday.
Yeah, was it in the first leg? I don't remember
it was in the first leg. It was in the first leg?
If the games happen in Premier League stadiums from the quarterfinals onwards, then VAR's used.
I see. So,
I
think I was speaking to Danny on the way to the game. We weren't sure whether VAR was going to be used or not. And if it wasn't used, we might have gone through last night.
Yeah, if it wasn't used, we would have tied up the game. But alas, VAR made the second penalty was never a penalty. Like,
that was such a shocking decision from the referee, wasn't
Everyone
it? I
can see it.
I know. I said straight away, that's not a penalty. They're going to go back to VAR and check it. I mean, I was not excited one bit when he pointed to the spot. And
the first one was definitely outside the box, but that offside goal, I know Rudiger was the man, but like the goalkeeper always has to be favored, because if you're caught out by the goalkeeper, then you have to favour them because they play in such a difficult position. The benefit of the doubt always has to go to the keeper. So it was a game, and that one where it went in between the post and Harry Kane by like that much and it didn't go in, I was just like kind of set the tone for the rest of the night. It was going to be a horror show, and you know, no goal scored in a 2-legged semi-final. Like, that's embarrassing. 180 minutes of semi-final football and not 1 goal scored. I think 2 shots on target for the entire 2. Like, actually, let me get it up. I want to see how many shots on target we had.
I don't think we had any shots on target in the first leg, did we?
No, I don't think so.
So I think yesterday we had a shot on target with Emerson with that header from the Davis cross.
So yesterday we had
Harry Kane maybe had a chance.
Player ratings on BB's. Yesterday we had 3 shots on target. Chelsea had 3 as well, and in the first leg we had we had 0.
Yeah.
No, we had 2. Sorry, so we had 5 shots on target, 180 minutes of football, and not 1 goal to show for it.
And the shots on target we had were all pretty
They're all
tame.
half
You know what
chances.
I mean?
The one
You know
that
what I
went
mean?
in was offside. It doesn't count. It doesn't count as a shot on target.
Yeah. It's very, very
Matt-
hard to take, Mikey.
Matt Doherty on the left, if you play him on the right, it's bad enough, but him on the left
You know what I mean?
is terrifying for us as Spurs fans to look at him. But
And
I
a
think,
dream for the opposition.
yeah, but I think Conte knew it was a far cry anyway for us getting through. I know you try, you're obviously going to try, but I think Conte, with the derby coming up, if you get an injury to Harry Kane before the North London derby, like if you sacrifice this semi-final for the pleasure of winning a North London derby? Do you sacrifice a semi-final against Chelsea for the chance of winning a North London derby? Because if we win the derby now with our fully fit 11, everyone will go to Conte and go, even though we lost the semi-final, it was good of him to rest the players because it means we ended up winning the derby. Like, do you sacrifice the chance of winning a trophy? I mean, let's be honest, we get to a final, we choke anyway, so we still have to play a final. But it's a question of do you compromise a second leg semi-final that we're already losing in order to, I guess, give yourself more of a chance in the North London derby?
But it's not just the North London derby, Mikey, is it? Because we've got the North London derby. A few days later, we got Leicester away, and a few days after that, we got Chelsea away.
So yeah, it's like if Conte was giving his players some rotational minutes, I obviously yesterday wasn't the time to do that. If we didn't have it's a home North London derby. Like the North London derby narrative generally is Arsenal win at home, Tottenham win at home. Apart from last season, like we haven't, like when they beat us 2-1 when Lamela got sent off and scored the Puskas Award nominee, which
that still happened. But Tottenham won at home, Arsenal won at home. That's what happened.
Yeah, so the narrative generally is that Tottenham win at home and Arsenal win at home, but I'm looking at the derby and thinking if we win this, if we pull off a win, then we're going to look back at the Chelsea game and think, yeah, we lost, but his selection was justified. His sacrifices and his lineup was justified in order to have maybe Sessegnon fit, maybe Reguilon if he comes back, because I remember seeing the knock. He got a knock against, I can't remember if it was, because I know he featured in the Watford game.
It was Southampton, wasn't it?
Because he featured in the Watford game, I'm pretty sure. That's the thing. Maybe he aggravated it during the Watford game.
Maybe.
I'm pretty sure he featured in the Watford game, because if he didn't, then it's mad. It's painful at the moment watching Tottenham play, because I wish, ever since the Southampton game, something happened in that Southampton game. I don't know what, but we just haven't been the same since. And I don't know. Yeah, Reguilon played a full 90 or 83 minutes of the Watford game and hasn't featured since. And maybe he aggravated his knock from the Southampton game. But I don't know. I'm just you can tell the pain in my voice. I'm generally not confident. But a derby day is a derby day. Anything can happen. So I'll of course back the boys, and I'll definitely. I know you've got 3 more callers to get through, including the infamous Brian Daigle, who's I'm sure got more than enough to say on the issues presented. I saw his post-match. I was trying to get on the post-match fan show, but it got too late for me to go on at like midnight. And I know that the Bun's going to give some good analysis, and Brian Daigle's going to rip into this.
You're ruining the surprise for all our viewers.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Spoiler alert.
No spoiler alerts,
no.
Mikey.
No, I do think we're stagnating a bit since the Southampton game. Something's happened where they've seen that Southampton can employ a low block, and everyone has they've worn us down in the Watford game, and then the Morecambe game was just embarrassing. But then Chelsea have dominated us, and this run of 4 games that we've got before the circuit break is before I think Chelsea go off to play in the FIFA Club World Cup, while we all get like a 2-week rest. So if if we've got these run of 3 games in a week before we get a 2-week rest, it's a lot for the players to do, and it's a lot for the fans to have to endure because these are 3 difficult games. I saw somewhere, I think it was this morning. You guys said 4 points out of 9 is going to be a result. I'm thinking, I think if we show up, I think we take 6 out of 9. I don't think we beat Chelsea at Stamford Bridge because they've beaten us twice this month. Going into that one, they're going to be full of confidence and they'll have Kante back. And I don't see us winning at Bridge, but I think we can muster up a Derby Day win over Arsenal and maybe get a win against Leicester. I can't remember if we're home or away. I think we're away.
Yeah.
But yeah, either way, it's going to be long. It's going to be long. This week is going to be long if we don't show up against Arsenal. Then that's when I think most of his fan base is going to reach breaking point and tell Levy to get off his arse and get some dealings done because this squad is not good enough to get top 4 alone, and the transfers we've been linked with aren't enough to get us top 4 because Arsenal and West Ham are stagnating, but Man United are not. They are. I would perceive Man United as, because I know West Ham won yesterday, but West Ham are pretty inconsistent, and so are Arsenal. I view Man United as our biggest rivals for that 4th position, and they have the Ronaldo factor as well. So our squad isn't good enough to compete if Man United squad starts firing. And
Agreed.
if we bring in Jesse Lingard, then I wouldn't say no, but it's not lighting me with confidence either. So there needs to be more ambition shown from the owners. But I think Tanguy and Ndombele is the real exponent of that saying. We paid big money, but Levy's thinking, we paid big money once, we gave him big wages, and look what happened. So I think Levy's going to be very cautious after the Ndombele situation, but we'll see. We'll see how it progresses.
All right, Mikey. Thanks for coming on once again. We shall speak to you soon.
Goodbye.
See you, Mikey.
All right, some super chats to get through. One saying, hit Levy on the only thing that he cares about, which is his pocket. Should organise not just mass boycotts of matches, but crowd entrances of the cinema and shops. I don't think the cinema will be around for a while yet still. But yeah, we need to do something if Conte does walk. Kevin says, I guess Conte wants some physicality on the left. What's he saying? What's that? Instead of playing Doherty? Come on, man. Aaron G saying, would be criminal to bring in an elite manager on big wage and not back him. It's okay being linked to these big signings in the summer, but it's hard if no top 4. Look, you can get big signings in without having Champions League football. It's about selling a project. That's what it's about. And with Conte and Paratici there, you can do that. You can do that.
Yeah. It's just easier to do it when you do have Champions League football.
Yeah, of course. But I think with Paratici and Conte at the helm, I think it's actually easier for us being outside top 4 than maybe it would be for other teams outside the top 4. But look, it all depends. I think if we want targets, we can get them. It's all about the board putting their money where their mouth is and backing the bloody manager. That's what it just boils down to at the end of the day. But I think it's time for some Tottenham on tour people to come on. Let's start off with the bun. Was with him, Danny Kiriakou last night. Danny,
I mean, look, boys, it's happened again. It's happened again. Tottenham Hotspur, it's happened again.
You know what really wound me up last night, Danny, is when Chelsea fans started singing Antonio.
Oh, mate, I was telling you that in the car yesterday. I was like, it was the worst. It was probably the worst thing they sang all night. It was just like literally a kick in the mouth, wasn't it? It was just disgraceful. And like Stel was saying last night on the fan show, how they were singing when that guy, whatever happened to the guy, whether it was a heart problem or hope he's all right. But I mean, there was just no respect from them whatsoever. They are just an absolute disgraceful fan base, and I can't stand them. It's just, and it just makes it even worse that all the stuff that's coming out over the last couple of days and what's come out today. It's just like even more of a kick in the teeth to all of us Spurs fans who support this club with passion, and we do everything to go and watch them, and whether that's in them stadium or on TV, and people from around the world wake up early hours to go and watch this game and stuff, or watch all the games, and we get this kind of utter dross that we get basically. and it's all because of that one man who runs everything at Tottenham Hotspur.
Do you think, Danny, that there is a chance of Conte walking in February?
It's a hard one. If they don't, I think I'm with you, Ben. If they don't sign a single player, I think he walks. I can't see him staying. I really can't, because
What's he got to stay for?
What has he got to stay for? It's exactly it. Why would he stay when he knows that squad is not good enough to get top 4? Right? What's he gonna do? Finish 7th, and then they're not gonna attract the players that they want to attract, they need to attract to get this club back to a level that's respectable to us fans and to a level where we can compete again. I mean, it's not going to happen without Champions League football. And if Daniel Levy actually thinks that this club's going to get Champions League football with this current squad of players, then he is even more deluded than we all think he is.
Yeah,
it's as simple as that.
He probably won't back him and then sack him for not finishing top 4.
or he might get to the FA Cup final or something like that, or semi-final, and then sack him then.
Yeah, exactly.
And then he'll just that's it. So he doesn't pay him out a certain amount for getting him into a final. But I mean, all the stuff that's come out today, right? We've been calling for the board to back Conte this month, and I think a respectable amount of players. I'd say the bare minimum actually is 2 players in this window. I think it has to be, and it looks like the Traore one. You're hoping that's going to happen, but it'll probably be like a lot of people said, a deadline day special. And then that's all we get. And then and then like someone said in the comments, they'll say, "Oh yeah, this guy can be used as a striker, he can be used as a central attacking midfielder, be used as a goalkeeper."
Like exactly what they did with Steven Bergwijn. Yeah. Exactly what they did with Steven Bergwijn.
Yeah, exactly that. It's exactly that. And I think that's what will probably happen. And they'll probably sell it like that to Conte. But Conte ain't a stupid man. And I think if they bring in one player, I think it's 50-50 whether he walks or not in February or a little bit after that. But I mean, me and Brian Daigle were saying, right, when Conte was appointed, we were saying that within the 2 years of his contract or 18 months that he'd been given at Spurs, at some point he's going to walk out. And I still stick by that, because I just can't see this board backing him the way that we need. We need about £300 million worth of investment into this team. In all fairness.
Did you say the board or the bald?
The bald. The bald. That bald prick. I mean, you know what? It's so upsetting, Ben. Like we saw how me and you we all were yesterday, right? We were just so down and annoyed by the whole situation going on. And then when you wake up, right, and then you see Alistair Gold come out with the comments saying that some of the players believe that Conte they fear that if the board doesn't back him this month, he's going to walk. But it's like we kind of know this, and that's what's even more upsetting for us, because we kind of know that already. If you're a smart fan, you understand that, and you know that's probably what will happen. And it's the fact that it's the same shit over and over again. That so many of us have called out that it's the same shit over and over again. And then you see what some people on Twitter have posted about, that we've won the permission to build 72 homes and a new cinema outside the ground. I mean, and then they're talking about like literally a day before, right? Literally yesterday, we got some news coming out from certain reporters saying that we've got limited funding this window.
And why do you think we got limited funding? Because we're spending it on regeneration of the whole bloody Tottenham area.
Exactly. So I want to talk to you, right, quickly, just about like what we're actually, just for fans to understand, right? For people who are on the fence of Levy or believe Levy is a good thing for this club, right? I want to just point out the amount of stuff that we actually got in the pipeline for what Spurs actually want to do. So you've heard about the 72 homes and the new cinema, right? That's an addition to already what they're already planning. So what they're planning on this Northumberland development project, right? You've got the hotel, which is a 180 bedroom hotel, right, with 49 service apartments, which is apparently what they put on their development plan, right? You've also got the housing for 585 new homes, right? Which people forget about that's going to be a lot of money. You've got the sports centre, which they call an extreme sports venue, which is going to have a climbing wall and a fucking diving pool. I mean, what the fuck do we need a diving pool for, or any sports centre? Do you know what I mean? We're a football club. We're not a fucking entertainment club, which is what they want to do, right? Because they don't care about football. We know this. You've got the golf club, which they want to build. They want to build a women's football and girls football academy, right? They want to build that on the golf course that they purchased. And they want to have an agricultural area as well, right? So they want to have an open park for the public space, right? On the training ground, they want to build a sports media center, right, for the media, right? They also want to extend one part of the training ground for the academy, right, for the youth development. So they want to add an additional annex on the actual training ground for the youth. That's going to cost money, right? Where do you think all this money is coming from? All this money is coming from us, the fans, that pay the money to go and watch this team, to support this team with merchandise and everything else, right? And it's us that are doing this. And then they have the audacity to say, oh, we've got no money. We've got no money. That's fucking utter bullshit. It is the biggest bullshit I've ever heard in my life, right? And if they don't back Conte this January or in the summer, right, and in the summer, should I say, then I'm telling you now, every single Tottenham fan has to revolt against this board, because nothing's going to change. We're going to be a top 7 club year in, year out, and nothing is going to change. We're going to be sitting with West Ham are going to overtake us. Aston Villa are going to overtake us. Leicester have pretty much already overtaken us. I mean, they've won more titles than we have in the last 5 years. In our wildest dreams of stuff that they've won. I mean, they've won a Premier League and a bloody FA Cup. I mean, what would all of us fans give to have those 2 trophies on our history books? Do you know what I mean? It's just absolutely ridiculous. And then what tops it off, I mean, is the fact that the way that we performed yesterday, and you hear about that Conte had to make decisions yesterday based upon what the club have told him. And for me, I genuinely, there's no other way that Conte to pick that team. It was picked based on the fact that they've told him that he must try and aim for that top 4 this season, right? So he's looked at the situation, he's looked at this club, and he's looked at what he has to play with and what he's got, and he's seen that if he plays that first team yesterday, yes, we're going to have a better chance of getting through, and it's a long shot, but if we give our best performance, right, and we don't get through, and there's a potential injury, then we're fucked for the Premier League, and then we're probably going to lose the North London derby anyway, right? And it'll be even worse situation. Now, in the league, we're actually, funny enough, in a good position, because we've got games in hand, and if we win all of those games in hand, and we beat Arsenal on the weekend, we're essentially in 4th, right? We're essentially in 4th. So that's what they're looking at, and there's no other thing they're looking at other than that, because Levy is a money-grabbing whore, right? That's what he is. All he wants is that top 4 money to help fund these projects that he has, right? And it's not to fund the team. The team's funding will be done through selling players that don't actually need to be sold, like Steven Bergwijn, players that we actually don't want sold, right? I mean, the fact that we're having to sell a player that some other clubs want purely because he's the only one that actually we can get some money for is absolutely disgraceful, and it's damning for what it's telling us.
Yeah, I completely agree. And in terms of as well with Ndombele, Conte's kind of Dan Kilpatrick saying this morning that Conte left him out of the squad after talks with Paratici, saying, you know, that looks like they're looking to move him on. Do you think that's it for him now at Tottenham? You're not going to see him again?
I think so. I mean, I heard there's a lot of contradicting reports from Italy saying that Napoli wanted him, and then some other reports saying that they don't want him because his wages are too high. What a surprise! Look, I think they're gonna have to try and get a loan. I mean, it'll be brilliant if someone like Jose Mourinho can get a loan for him. That would be fucking. That'll help take him off our books. But
apparently, Jose's on his last legs at Roma, though.
Yeah, I know. Do you remember what I was saying this last night when I read that thing? He's having a critical meeting or something like that.
Yeah,
because it's their worst start in 43 years or something.
Yeah, he called the Roma players too nice, and
Yeah.
have you heard that one before?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, look, with Ndombele, right, there's someone's going to have to give, right? Daniel Levy, if they're going to try sell him, which I don't think there's going to do in this window, which leaves the other option, which is to loan him out. If they're going to do that, they're going to have to somehow subsidize some of his wages to get him off the books, to save some money, whether that's 50% of his wages. If a Roma can say, yeah, we'll pay you half his wages, yeah, that's 100 grand a week. That's a lot of money we're saving over the course of the year, which essentially it's the only thing we can do, because we're not going to get a fee for him right now. So we have to find some way of reducing the wage bill on his wages. And the only way they do that is like what some of the big clubs have done with other clubs when they pay for a subsidiary of their wages. And it's like, if the Tottenham want to act like a big club, then they should start fucking acting like a big club. And that's what big clubs like to do is they like teams like Real Madrid. Do you know what? Let's give you this player and we'll pay for like 50% or 60% of the wages. I like the Coutinho deal, right? Barcelona are subsidizing a lot of the wages for the Coutinho deal because of how big his contract is. And I think that's the only way we get him out. If Daniel Levy says, no, I'm not doing that, I want someone to pay full wages, Ndombele is going to sit there and become even more toxic to that squad. And it's like you're going to have a player who says he's unhappy, but really he isn't happy because he doesn't give a shit about football at all. The only thing that guy gives a shit about is what money he's getting at the end of the week, or what car he might buy next, or what Prada coat he's going to buy next. Do you know what I mean? It's ridiculous, and I'm fed up of it. And to be honest, I hope they find a way to just get him out of this club in this window, whichever way it is.
Do you think we'll see him again in a Spurs shirt?
I don't think so. I don't think so. I think they're trying as hard as they can to get him out. And I really hope they do, because the only way I see him playing in the Spurs shirt again is if they literally just can't get him out and he's forced to use him this season, which I reckon if you're going to see him, it'll be as substitute appearances. I don't see him starting. I really can't.
All right, Danny. Always a pleasure, my friend, and we'll speak to you very soon.
Speak to you later, boys.
Cheers, mate.
Nice one, Danny.
Few super chats to get through. Will Stewart, big up Will, and he says, if y'all think the secret meeting in the Bahamas was about transfers, I think you'll be disappointed. The meeting was about the new Popeyes chicken and Blockbuster video outside the stadium.
Blockbuster video, bringing it back. Looking forward. Actually,
Sim's getting excited now.
Oh, that's better than any signing.
Yeah, you're an Enoch fan now.
Exactly.
There was one from Neville saying, we need this window and summer as a bare minimum to get some new players. There are some useless players that don't honour the badge. It's not even about them not honouring the badge. They're just not good enough. They're just not good enough.
That's just reality. Like exactly. Like, some players, they can try as hard as they want.
And I think Doherty's in that boat. I don't think Doherty's disrespecting us in any sort of way. He's just nowhere near good enough.
Yeah. I think he tries hard.
Yeah.
He's just rubbish. Yeah.
Let's bring on someone that we haven't heard from in a very long time. Where has he been? Alex Samuels.
He's been cleaning his room for all this time.
Exactly.
Still not ready.
Pristine now. What a great job you've been doing. I see now why you've been away.
Yeah, no. So I have been away for a few months now. Actually, I've just been busy. I've been doing a football business master's degree. So
wow.
Yeah, so been doing that and just keeping my head down a bit. Just yeah. So, but I thought I'd come back today.
Always
pick a good moment to
good
come
times.
back.
Yeah, good times. Were you at the game last night?
Yeah, I was there. It was such a weird thing because I went there knowing that we were going to lose, and actually I went there with my because my family's Chelsea. I went there with my stepdad, who's a Chelsea fan. He was in the away end, and he brought 2 Arsenal fans along with him. So I had a nice journey back.
Great. What were the Arsenal fans sitting with the Chelsea fans? Or
they're with the Chelsea. They're in the Chelsea end.
Bloody hell.
Them along. Yeah, and so I had a lovely journey back, and I was just going there with this ever sense of just dread, because I knew as soon as that lineup came out, I was like, you knew how this was gonna go, didn't you?
Yeah.
I mean, everyone really knew. I mean, I was just walking up the high road, and I just hear people go, "Oh, not Doherty, not Galini," just every now and again. It was quite funny. So it was interesting. I wasn't really surprised. The VAR calls were spot on. Nothing really to argue about there. Played slightly better than we did in the first leg, only slightly though. But yeah, it's really difficult at the moment because I don't really see where the progress is going to come from, whether that's going to be the transfer market, because as far as I know we put out before every single window, there's always a story that gets leaked to journalists. Oh, Tottenham have got no money in a bid to try and get the prices down, because we're not going to do like something like Barcelona do and say, oh, we've got loads of money now and we can spend like their president did. We're not going to do that because that's obviously bad business. But the one thing which I see as an indication that might actually be relatively true is because we did hear from Matt Law that there has been a conversation about external investment going into the club. And so if that is, Matt Law's quite a reliable journalist, and so if that is true, then there does seem to be a serious financial problem not in terms of we're in any dire financial straits, the club's going down the toilet, but in terms of having the money to actually do the rebuild, which I think the club do know needs to happen. This serious rebuild that Pochettino harked on about, for a long while, and that we've been hearing about for years now, and that it is a myth to say we haven't invested in the squad. We have invested in the squad, but that recruitment policy has been very inconsistent and arguably rubbish. We have bought so badly, and this isn't anything new. I'm not saying anything revolutionary here.
No.
And so I am struggling to see how we are going to significantly change the squad, considering we are now almost halfway through January, and there's nothing.
Yeah, and talks today from Ali Gold saying some players are worried that Conte could walk in February if he's not back. Is that a genuine fear of yours?
When I saw that report come in, I was just a bit like, I don't know. I don't really know what it means, because as I feel like players can sometimes feel like we do as fans, in a sense. Like they might have the same worries that we have, and it's natural when you have an elite coach like that you're also going to think like that. So and that's how we feel, and that's how the players might also feel. And I think I can't remember who it was, but someone said earlier that I wonder who the ringleader is on that. I don't really think it takes a detective to work out. It might be a Mr. Harry Kane on that one potentially. Yeah. And I wouldn't begrudge him thinking that or feeling that or being worried about it, because this is what Kane. I'm not going to mince my words here, and I truly, honestly believe this, and I've believed it since the day Conte came in. He is one of the best managers Spurs will ever get.
Yeah, if not the best. If not the best.
100%. And I think that is completely true, because we have never had an elite level manager in their prime before at the club. So
spot on. Absolutely spot on.
So if he walks, it will be a very interesting
it'll be a dark
time
day in our history.
It will be a very dark day, and it does make me, if that happened, it will make me very worried. But the flip side of that is I don't see it happening, because we are going to sign at least a player this January. Whether that is enough or not is another issue. But we've been hearing now for quite a while about this magnificent summer that we're going to be getting. Yeah. Tottenham are going to be the most active club ever, apparently, this summer transfer window, which is going to be quite something. And actually, you know what, part of me is like, I think that actually part of that is true. I do think we are going to see a lot of spending this summer.
Look, when it's all said and done in the summer, you can just see it going, oh, yeah, we tried to do this and we tried to do that. For some reason or another, it just didn't happen, just some sort of excuses that we hear every single time.
Well, don't worry, because apparently Paulo Dybala's contract talks have halted. So you know what's happening again.
Yeah.
But I know what you mean, and it is a concern. The track record of the ownership hasn't been very consistent in the transfer windows. And one point that was really good raised earlier was that Levy does love the drama of the summer transfer window, and how he likes to feel like he wins in negotiations. And I've heard privately some stuff regarding that, which I can't repeat publicly, but stuff that I know that is kind of accurate. That is actually quite an accurate thing. He does.
Don't worry, Alex. Our phones are always open to you, my friend.
No, well, maybe we'll have a chat about it someday.
Next episode, we're going to be quoting anonymous sources. Don't worry.
Oh god, I'll get in so much trouble. But
with Levy.
So
Levy's going to be on your back.
Oh no, not anyone. But people close to some people at the club. But so. I'm worried. I think we will get the Adama Traore. I actually think that's kind of a given, in my opinion. I think
we'll get him last day of the window, though, won't we?
Yeah, but it is a matter of time. that transfer. I feel it's whether we get anyone further, because the thing for me is that midfield is incredibly lacking in creativity. So if you lose Ndombele, that means you've got Lo Celso, Winks, Højbjerg, and Skip. And Lo Celso, I don't know, he doesn't even really play in that. The way Conte plays, he likes playing on the wings, doesn't he? Really, Lo Celso, rather than in the central midfield. So really, you're looking then at Winks, Højbjerg, and Skip. Oh, and a Dele, I suppose. Easy to forget, isn't he? Nowadays.
Yeah.
My bad. So yeah, I'm very worried. And one thing I did at the game last night, I just looked while the players were on the pitch and looked at every single position that Tottenham had. And apart from Harry Kane and maybe on his day, Lucas Moura, maybe, every single position was occupied by a player who is average or below average. Every single player apart from Kane and maybe Moura. And then you look at Chelsea's squad and you just see quality players everywhere. Absolutely everywhere. And they had half of them on the bench as well.
Yeah.
Their bench could have beaten our other team that we put out last night.
Yeah.
And that's really concerning. That is very concerning. So, yeah, I think that's why Conte said what he said after the game. What he's actually said last week as well in the first leg, the gap between Tottenham and Chelsea and Tottenham and the other clubs above us in the league is so vast, and it is going to take a lot more than just this January. Adama Traore or anyone really. It's so difficult because we are trying to shift out players who just can't be shifted. Ndombele, as Alistair Gold said in his recent video, he was a pre-pandemic signing, and that has really shown in us trying to shift him now for the past 18 months. We've now been trying to sell him, and no one wants him. I remember, funnily enough, I think Inter Milan were really trying to make a big push for him while Conte was there.
Yeah, he was. Yeah,
and funnily enough, now he's come to Tottenham, and clearly, when Conte's given his evaluation of the squad, he hasn't cut it. So it says a lot, doesn't it? And I've been a personal Ndombele advocate for many years now, as many of us have been, because he is such a quality player, and it has been one of the most disappointing transfers I've ever seen, personally. Ones that I'm at least maybe attached to. So, I don't know. We move on to.
Do you think we'll see him in a Spurs shirt again, Ndombele?
Well, the lines that came out from Conte last night about his talks with the club and it being a technical decision, I think shows that they're trying very hard to move him on. Your guess is as good as mine if that's actually going to come off, and if it doesn't, then he will have to be reintegrated for like the third time now. He's going to have to be reintegrated into the squad.
Then we go again in the summer, people.
and it all starts. So the Tanguy cycle starts anew, doesn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
Every single time. So, and you just look back at that 2019 transfer and you just think, what the hell happened? We had so much money to spend and absolutely fluffed it.
Yeah.
A lot of stuff going for us, and then we've screwed up.
We signed Giovanni Lo Celso and Tanguy Ndombele for 100 million, over 100 million for the pair, right?
Yeah.
Ndombele has completed like less than 10 90 minutes or 10 90 minutes since joining, and Lo Celso has completed 8.
Says it all. So and Jack Clark, anyone?
Oh,
I know he's a youth player, and bless him. I'm sure he's a great guy, but we spent a lot of money on him relatively.
To what he is.
Relatively.
The geezer's 21 years old, right? Look at Arsenal with Smith Rowe, Saka, this one, that one. All younger than him.
Yeah. There is actually just one thing I wanted to bring up. Just going back to Enoch and Levy, your previous caller. there was a few things I disagreed with that was brought up, especially with the Northumberland project and the develop, because I know there was a story with the cinema being redeveloped, and I think it is one of those things where I understand it is very easy to point and laugh at and go, you look, especially after that, that coming out after what happened last night and how off recent form has been. It is very easy to point off, but it is worth noting that the Northumberland project was the project that was agreed with the council, and the redevelopment of the area was part and parcel of the stadium being redeveloped. There was no stadium without that redevelopment, the gentrification of the area, like what happened with Stratford. So it is worth noting those things, and I feel like you got to be fair at times, and
That's fair enough.
Yeah, so there is that, and as I said before, I do believe that the club don't really have the money available at the moment, considering they are seeking that external investment. And I see someone in the back end behind is holding his hands on his head, seemingly in agony. But but I think
Brian, they go. I just don't think you understand.
I know. By all means, come on a second and say a piece. But if they are seeking that external investment, there is seemingly they are realizing that they can't compete. I mean, just look at Aston Villa, for example. Look at the business they're doing.
Yeah.
I don't know how they're being able to do that. All sorts of financial rules and regulations they're probably moving around, for example. But the landscape is very difficult at the moment, and I'd love for us to get that external investment, because ENIC's ownership over Tottenham is not in my interest. I don't care if they hold on to the club. That's not if an external investor comes in, then sure, and we get a whole load of money, then great. But we need, we do need that investment. So I would implore the club to move on that as soon as possible.
All right, Alex, good to have you back, my friend. Hopefully speak to you soon.
No, definitely. I'll try and get
Alex.
on. No, thank you guys.
No problem. Speak to you soon, bro.
See you.
Bye. That was Alex Samuels. We've got a few super chats to get through before the fire comes on. We got Mintu Lee saying we can't count on games in hand. Other clubs are catching us up too and rested their players. Every Premier League game now is precious, so I don't mind dropping this for the North London derby, not for the sentiment, but for the points, to be honest.
Well, we better win the bloody North London derby then. But no, I would say we can't count on the game. We can't think the games in hand are automatic 3 points, but they are what they are, which is an extra game. We've got Arsenal have played 2 games more than us. So as much as you can't take it for granted, it's still a position where you have a chance to overtake Arsenal, even if we do lose the North London derby.
Yeah.
So I would have, if you are giving me a choice, win the North London derby or go through yesterday, I would have gone through yesterday. That's what I would have chosen. But only because he still leaves us in a position in the league where we can still overcome Arsenal. But I can't understand what she's saying, and it's North London derby is obviously a very, very important game. But I wouldn't have risked the game yesterday for the North London derby.
Agreed. Ghost says Levy must be an Arsenal fan in disguise. And where was this other one gone? Martin Torkletson says, when are we ever going to talk about how bad Lo Celso is? We are criticising Ndombele for no contribution. When has Lo Celso ever contributed? I mean, the only time I can ever remember him really contributing is when he first broke into the team, really.
Yeah, this was a while ago now.
And that was, consistent, good performance for him from then. But injuries has blighted his career. I thought he was rubbish last night, to be honest. And I thought it was really bad last night. I'm starting to lose my patience a bit with Lo Celso, to be honest.
Another player, I think we've mismanaged him. Again, we play him on the wing, we play him in the centre, we play him deep, we play him high up. We haven't found the position that suits him most. I've always said he's better in the centre. I don't like him on the wing. Whenever he's played on the wing, he's disappointed me. But Conte said he sees him as one of the number 10s, and those one of those 10s a lot of the time can be found out wide, and I don't know. I'm also starting to lose a bit of patience, only because he keeps getting injured. Then whenever he gets back, it kind of takes him a while
Goes
to
to
get settled
Argentina.
in, and then gets injured again. And he's another one where you're just like wondering when's it ever going to click for him, because it's been a while now.
How many actual Premier League 90 minutes these guys have actually completed?
Yeah, it's pathetic,
nuts.
really.
It's pathetic. 8 and 10.
Yeah,
Come
it's a
on,
joke.
man.
Apparently, as well, I heard you at the game yesterday. Apparently, there was 17,000 empty seats.
17,000 was there? I mean, towards the end, with 10 minutes to go, the ground was literally empty. Literally empty. I mean, 17,000. When I was like there right at the beginning of the game, it looked fairly full, to be honest.
Yeah. Okay, that's what.
But 17,000 empty seats, if they're not all blocked together, maybe can look like that, to be honest.
Someone on Twitter said there were 17,000 empty seats.
I mean, like I said, if there's
Is that
17,000
what is
empty
that?
seats,
Is that COVID? Is that why is there so many missing? Is that because we lost the first leg?
probably a mixture of everything. The way the team's playing at the moment.
But apparently, West
Ham.
Ham had a higher attendance yesterday than we did.
Really?
That's a semi-final.
Yeah, and that's home to Norwich. Yeah. To be honest, ever since this Omicron thing came around, the stadium's been fairly dead.
Yeah,
Empty.
true. People have. Yeah, you're right.
But let's move on. Let's get on Brian. Mr. Daigle.
Good afternoon, everyone. How we doing?
Not bad, not bad. What about you?
I'm great. So what would you like to talk about?
What are you having for dinner tonight?
Oh, mate, I'm literally seething. I am pacing up and down I am going absolutely batshit crazy. Batshit crazy. So I'm going to start. I'm going to go on a little speech here. So I came onto your channel about a year and a half ago, obviously, and I've been constantly leave you out. And then obviously you did that 20-year ENIC celebration, or is it a good thing or bad? And I went crazy. And obviously it got hit with a lot of negativity. Levy's this, he's great, look what he's doing. And then we had the Super League. And then we had the manager debacle. And then it goes from strength to strength to strength. I say it every single time what is happening with this parasite. We had the debate last Friday, Ben. And it was a great debate. We had it last Friday. Now, I'm not going to go back my 14 years of being Levy out because I just can't be asked. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to tell you what he's done in January alone. In 13 days, we have been linked with a Dharma, maybe going for a Dharma, should be going for a Dharma. I'm going to piss off to the Bahamas to get investment, come back and say, do you know what, a loan deal? And then the stupid prat, and what Alex says is right, the stadium development would have to be done with that. He announces it on the day we lose to Chelsea. On the day all this breaks, that apparently we got no money. This guy does not give a shit about me, about you, and about every single football fan that supports Tottenham Hotspur. When are people going to realise that this guy does not give a shit? And now the great thing is I'm hearing people saying protest. We've been doing it for a year, and I'm not talking about the people in this chat. We got mocked. We got laughed at. We got fucking abused. Not us giving the abuse. We called this all down the line, and here we are, the 13th of January, and Ben, I'll say to you everything we said at the beginning of every Good Morning Tottenham. Have we signed anyone yet?
And I'll say to you, like I say every time, yes, we've signed a women's striker for the women's team.
Wicked. Prayers are answered. Mate. Well, mate, this is beyond a goddamn joke. This has got to stop. And do you know what? I get why people keep that. I tell all season ticket holders, keep your season tickets, because one day this parasite will go and things will change and that list will get huge again. Don't spend in the shop. Don't spend in the stadium. Go eat in Chicken or the Pie and Mash shop or the hundreds of other fast food outlets and all the other pubs. Don't give this guy a penny, because is it going on what we were told?
You know ENIC own all those shops as well.
The rent, but they don't cut the rent. That they do, yeah. But in some of that takings is them. This is what's happening. They are buying Tottenham. And the debt on the stadium is in Tottenham's name. Everything else is in Enix's name. All the land, all the property, everything. Completely different name. No debt. But Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, Tottenham debt. Everything is getting bought up. And, mate, I just don't even know what to say anymore. It's an absolute fucking disgrace that this man has been allowed to get away with it this long. And people are waking up to it now.
And so, what was your reaction when you saw Ali Gold's report this morning? Then that Conte could, some players fear that Conte could walk if he's not properly backed.
Well, do you know what? I actually didn't know that until I turned your stream on, and you can imagine how I felt there, mate. Listen, I remember when we were linked with him the first time, and I was with Danny Kiriakou the whole time, and saying this is for transfer season tickets before deadline, and straight after the deadline, it's going to go wonky. And then I was on Matt Hayes' stream with Danny, and what happened? It went wonky. He does it all the time. Everything for goddamn money. Do we get anything in return? You pay the highest season tickets. We pay... Oh, I don't, because I won't give that parasite a penny. Everyone pays the highest price in that club shop. For what? For what?
Yeah. Yeah.
So we can get to semi-finals, so people can say, yeah, we're getting to semi-finals, but we don't get to the final. When we do, we choke.
Yeah.
What? I mean, I don't know where this point gets with people where they go, do you know what? Enough is enough. Do we have to go 30 years with one trophy? Another transfer window where we get fuck all? What needs to happen to realise? And that smug prick is sitting there yesterday, watching that team suffer with no quality, no strength in depth. We were all talking in the stadium about Chelsea's strength in depth, and obviously we know they've got a multi-billionaire that invests in the club. He's sitting there watching it. But all he's thinking about is how he can get more money to do more buildings and Levy land and whatever. How much longer do we go on?
I think you ask what needs to happen for the penny to drop. And I think what needs to happen is for Conte to walk. And when Conte does walk, I think the penny will drop with the 100% of the fan base, to be honest.
Well, I'm not going to say it live on camera, Ben, but you know what I've got planned if we lose Sunday. So there will be plans on Sunday if it's a bad defeat. Watch this space, because enough. I'm only here for a short time, as we all know, or God knows with Bob, but you know what I mean, I'm not here permanently, so I've got to do my bit whilst I'm here. I've got to. And I like I said, I will be, if we lose to Arsenal, I'll be at the training ground Monday and Tuesday, and not Wednesday because we're going to Leicester, Thursday, Friday, and whatever day we're not playing till transfer deadline day, I will be outside that training ground. And I will be there from 10 o'clock in the morning until about 6 o'clock at night. I don't care if I'm by my fucking self. I don't care. Of course, enough. I already know a few people that want to come with me. So if people want to come to the training ground, feel free. Because I'm done with this nonsense. I am literally done of hearing people go, oh, but Brian, even that debate, it's like, oh, bro, but this is the window Conte's come. He scouted Mourinho and wanted Mourinho for 20 years. He saw Mourinho go to every club. Mourinho does three things. Spends millions, wins trophies, toxic and leaves. Does it at every single club he's at. Comes to Tottenham? Of course. Want Skriniar, get Rodham. Want Bruno Fernandes, get Gedson Fernandes. Fantastic. Brilliant.
Look, I know it's a very depressing situation. It really is. But look, I can't argue with anything you're saying, to be honest.
Do you know what? I mean, like I said, I said, Ben, obviously, that debate we had last week, I know where I was coming from, and I knew this was coming. Because I can read that guy like a goddamn book. And I understood your part, and other people saying, oh, wait, it's the first week. Then it was the first third. Now we're getting to the half. and it's the same shit, different window. And if we do sign a Dharma on loan with an obligation to buy, just remember this. Everyone thinking about that incredible summer we're going to have spending. Well, forget 70 million of that, because 50 is going to Atlanta or Juve for Romero, and 20 or whatever it is will go to Adama, to Wolves. So that budget you think we've got, half it, or take 70 million away from it, because that's going buying players that we haven't already paid for.
Yeah.
So then it'll be in the summer. We've got money. Oh no, but we had to spend money for Romero and Adama, and this bullshit continues.
You got a super chat for you, Brian. It says, Brian is talking facts. This has gone on for far too long now, and it's all so noticeable now that we have an elite manager. People are realising this too late now. I'm at the game Sunday, and I'm quite nervous. That's from Harry Chapman. Do you think Conte could really expose everything once and for all from this board?
If put it this way, if Conte walks, if there is a supporter that is not Enoch out, then I don't know what this man has to do to make you Enoch out. I think it's
going to have to be. Surely there's not one fan that surely can get on board with Enoch if Conte walks. Surely.
Well, Ben, I was saying this to you yesterday as well. The thing I'm really worried about is last when we were at Man U and everything, it started turning toxic. It was for Levy out.
Yeah.
But this time, if it gets toxic in there, no one's going to sing Conte out. It's going to be Levy in versus Levy out. And it's going to get bad. And it's going to get toxic. And it's not good. Listen, Levy in, Levy out, Levy on the fence. All we want is a successful Tottenham Hotspur. Now, if you think a successful Tottenham Hotspur is one trophy in 21 years, getting to semi-finals and finals, but not cutting the mustard, not buying the players that want to come, being lied to left, right and centre, paying the highest season ticket price, paying the highest for all the kits, then well done. Your success has been reached. My success, and a lot of other people's success, is measurably different.
Yeah.
Measurably different. This is pathetic.
Brian, if I gave you a choice that Conte walks and then Enoch get forced out, or Conte stays and Enoch stays, which one are you choosing?
Listen, I will say this right here, right now. I want Conte to succeed. I want Conte to succeed. And you know what? If it had to be with the Parasite and it does it, brilliant. But it won't be. It won't be. And people seem to think, not everyone, small proportion of people, think I'd rather Tottenham lose or shit happen with Enoch just so I can get my point across. No. I'm like this because I've had 14 years of monitoring this guy and watching him since he sacked Yol. This man has got so little class, he sacks a man at half-time. No other manager in world football, but it's okay for us. And it's the manager that was a catalyst for all of this, Martin Yol. Mate, there is no success with Levy. And I'd love Conte to get the money. I'd love him to spend mate, there's nothing more I'd love to do than come on this channel and go, do you know what? The Parasite done good. The Parasite done
Brian,
well.
I'm giving you option A and option B. Which one are you choosing?
Yeah. Oh mate, you can't do this to me, man. You can't do this to me.
I thought you already chose the option.
No, he didn't.
Yeah, I did. But mate, every time I say it, mate, listen,
Which
I want a
option?
successful Tottenham.
Huh?
I believe it could
He
be.
said Conte to stay under the Parasite.
No, he didn't say
If
that.
he's
He
got
said
back-
Conte
no,
to be
if-
successful.
I want Conte
Right.
to be successful at the club.
Yeah, that's not the other. I'm just
No.
saying Conte stays and Enoch stays, or they both leave.
Surely it has to
Mate,
be Conte staying, because it means
of
if
course
Conte's
it's Conte
staying, we're on the
staying.
right track.
I want Tottenham winning trophies. I want Tottenham competing for titles. I want to win an FA Cup. I want to see us get to a final and fucking win. That's why we support Tottenham, to see them win. We are born with this. We are, as fans, whether you get passed down for your family or you live abroad and you saw Tottenham and it struck a chord with you and you saw players like Jurgen Klinsmann and you loved him. We don't leave. We have Tottenham Hotspur in our blood and in our heart for life. For life. These people come and go, and this bastard needs to go, and he needs to go now.
Yeah.
Ave Master as well, the super chat says, "I'll happily come when I finish work. This guy is speaking facts, no faults in what he is saying."
I have to agree with it. You have to agree with it. I mean, I'm lost for words, to be honest, Brian. I really am. Don't know what to say anymore.
Listen, the one thing I will say is that stadium is a work of art. It is a work of goddamn art. I mean, obviously, we were at Stamford Bridge last week, and what a fucking dive that place is. And it makes you realise the stadium you got. But you've got the stadium. I mean, the Poch saying says it all. And here we are again saying this. Here we are, people going in, drinking loads of beer, spending money. Mate, spending. Just don't. How do you expect? The only time they realise or will listen is if profits go down. Don't buy anything in the club shop. I actually wanted to start. I think I started speaking about it yesterday. I want to try and get something done in the ground where no one goes in wearing anything bought during Levy's tenure. Like wear your retro kits, wear your Gascoigne kits, wear your Klinsmann, anything that before this parasite came. Anything. Yeah. Or buy the wonderful shirts from WeAreTottenhamTV. Just anything. Just do not wear or buy anything that has come from this prick's tenure. Stop it. As soon as it stops and he realises our money's down, we have an impact.
Got your mate with a super chat, Brian, saying, Ryan Isaacs Kennard saying, it's going to be toxic on Sunday and I'm all for it.
It's going to be, I mean, you know what, I heard you saying before, if Dyer's out, I'm really worried. Like, very, very worried. But yeah, there's something planned if it's a bad defeat to Arsenal, mark my words. And then if it is a bad defeat, I will be outside the training ground Monday morning. Simple as.
All right. I think there's another super chat for you here, Brian. Sebastian Wolf saying, Levy out. How embarrassing it most having been for Conte bringing in Ryan, Skip and Hill right after Chelsea brought in 4 or 5 world-class players. If he walks, riots should be happening. Big up, Brian.
Thank you very much, guys. Listen, I've been saying it for so long now. Thankfully, I think Conte may be the straw. Conte in this transfer window may be the straw that breaks a lot of people's back. And I think this time we are growing big time in numbers. And I think this time, if people are planned and people are prepared, because this is the thing. What happened last time? And I can see a guy coming on who's in the back end. So I'll quickly say this. What happened with us is we had so many things planned for Levy out of the NFL process and all the other process I was here for, but it was all number driven. And you have so many people on social media and in chats on all the YouTube channels going, yeah, I'm gonna come, I'll be there, let's strike this, let's do this. And then Ben Simeon, you saw the numbers, they weren't great, but we made our voice heard. We got into worldwide media, obviously in the stadium when that kicked off. So if there's more of us outside that club shop going mad, it's gonna have an impact, a much bigger impact. So please, if you go to the ground and you're Levy out, stand with us and start singing or screaming for Levy out in the goddamn stadium, because it's the only way we're going to do it. This ain't a silent protest. This needs to be as noisy can be.
Yeah. And the last super chat here from Danny Kiriakou, he says, you can't help yourself, Brian, can you?
I can't. It's the law, mate. It's the law. You have to say it.
He says, as I said to you last night, Ben, apart from Kane and Mora, all those players that played last night should be replaced. They should be bench warmers. Do you agree with that, Brian?
Well, I thought Ben Davies was okay yesterday. Still could have done better. Davison did good.
But all those players you just mentioned, Ben Davies and Davinson, they're both upgradable. You know what I mean?
Oh, no, mate, listen, the way I've said it before, every single player, apart from Son, Kane, Romero and Lloris, is upgradable. And that's another thing. Sorry, just quickly. Lloris is really going to like signing a new contract during this time, isn't he?
Yeah.
Oh, we're not getting back again. Oh, I've seen this for 10 years. Oh, we're not going to win a trophy. Oh, I've seen this for 10 years. Oh, Nice, I go back. Off we go.
George with the super chat saying, I am Daigle, full support to Brian.
Thank you, George, brother. Thank you. This is really enticing Kane to stay as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
Do you think Kane is that player who fears Conte could walk?
Oh, mate, do you know what? It's got to be. Do you know what? I said it yesterday. I think Kane has got the influence, not as great, but you know how Messi had such a hold on Barcelona, players coming in, players going out. Like, mate, I really have a feeling. I'm not saying it's at that level, but he's seeming very, very influential in places that he shouldn't need to be.
What do you mean by that?
And that's concerning. Just like you know what? With players coming in, lack of strikers coming in, you think, okay, we're not getting them. You look at Messi when he said no to this, no to... I'm not saying... This is all speculation. But it's just like this guy... I know he's a superstar. He's world-class. He's a great striker. He's the England captain. He's given us wonderful years' service. But this is just... Something's not right. And he's definitely the one that's like, literally, I'm petrified if he walks. Definitely. After the whole Nuno thing, you get an elite manager that matches his ambition. Oh, this one stayed longer. I mean, if he goes in February, who's been here longer, Nuno or Conte?
If he goes in February,
Would it be Nuno? Would it be longer? Probably.
Well, how long was Nuno here? Nuno left in
So it
when?
was in July. He left in November.
No, November. It was early. No, Conte's first game was 1st November or something. Wasn't
Right. So he was here for the whole of October, let's say. When did he join? August.
He joined in July.
Yeah, 31st
July, August, September, October. So that's 4 months. Nuno is November, December, January. Yeah, it'll be Nuno.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
The 10 years will be getting shorter and shorter.
Literally. Next manager will be 2 months.
Brian, they're saying that Levy is capping all season tickets from the end of January so that everyone signs up before Conte walks.
Mate,
I wouldn't put it past him.
It wouldn't surprise me. It wouldn't surprise me that he'll start doing some shit like that.
He did it in the summer, didn't he?
Exactly. Listen, my final thing, so I will let you get on because I could talk like this for ages. Just please, if you're serious about this as well, do not buy in the club shop. Go to another sports outlet. Go whatever. Don't spend money in the bars. All right, you have one beer, whatever. Don't stay in there after the game or whatever. Just go in, watch the game, leave. Don't give him any fucking money because we're not getting the benefits and we don't deserve it.
Yeah. All right, Brian. Always great to get your views. Absolutely great call as always and spot on as usual. We shall speak to you soon.
And I will say, as always,
get well, Bob.
Levy out.
See you later, Brian.
See you, Brian. A bit of transfer news for you. Tottenham have made an inquiry for Peterborough 19-year-old right-back Benjamin Mensah.
Come on!
Only an inquiry, don't worry. No serious business. We're only
Are we considering making an inquiry, or are we actually making an inquiry?
Says we have made an inquiry, and he's going to be part of the under-23 setup. So that's something to look forward to.
Super chat here, Danny Kiriakou again saying, if Conte walks, Kane hands in a transfer request and he will force a move 1,000%. Levy needs to wake up and smell the shit.
He should have done that a few years ago, to be fair.
Dan Scholes with the super chat saying, Conte won't walk till at least the summer. Tick-tack.
Tick-tack.
Neville with the super chat saying, hi guys, please can we wait for January window to end and then we can talk. I am sure we are all going to be surprised.
I hope you're right, but I think if I understand the need for patience, and part of me agrees with it, but also we're in this situation because of them, so it's only right we put pressure on them while January is still alive and we still got time. Because at the moment, movement seems scarce. We haven't got signings through the door. We're now nearly halfway through January, and
what does pressure on them look like?
I don't know. I'll just keep calling them out, basically. And even get a protest going maybe in a week's time or something if we haven't got anything, if nothing looks like happening. We do need to put some pressure on them because they're only calling for patience because they fucked up so badly that Conte needed a month in December to decide on his squad.
Yeah.
So Conte should know his squad by now, in terms of a season perspective, and the fact that we're now in January and they've only just had the transfer meeting because everything got delayed because our board is so incompetent that they delayed it. And it all goes down to the board at the end of the day. It all goes down to the board.
1,000%. Yeah, absolutely spot on. Another super chat here. Member for 4 months, Renegan Kumar says, I don't think Mr. Parasite will survive if Conte leaves. I mean, he better not. Because if Conte leaves and the whole fan base is going to be against him, the whole fan base, surely.
Yeah.
You got
If he walks, it's over for him, surely.
You'd like to think so. From one Levy out to another, let's bring on Jory. Jory, how's it going, man?
Hey guys, how are you doing?
Yeah, you didn't seem too happy yesterday. I don't know if you slept on it, had a different perspective, but what's you've woken up to the news that some players believe Conte could actually walk if he's not back this January. Is that maybe feed into what you were saying last night?
No, I'm completely convinced of that. I mean, the time scale, I don't know. It could be very quickly after the window, or it could be at the end of the season. I don't know about that. But first of all, I just want to say I really feel for you guys to have to sit through this once again. It's not easy, and I completely understand that and agree with you. All this negativity is not the greatest thing in the world. And actually, I have a mental health announcement to our fan base. Whoever anchors you guys is your master. Remember that. Don't make these guys your master. Keep the anchor in a healthy motivational space. Don't let it get the upper hand. So, but I think I think what you said there, you gave Brian a pretty difficult choice there. And I think it's a bit of a oxymoron, Sim. You said either Levy and Conte leaves, or they both stay. The thing is, I don't think it's a real choice. Now, I want to do a little question game with you guys. Now, I'm going to ask you: can we win a Champions League title or a Premier League title with our current front three players, a main attack, like a primary attack?
Probably not.
Who are we saying? Kane,
Son, Lucas.
We can't win something with them?
A Champions League or a Premier League? I don't think we can.
I think I've won with them.
Yeah, it's 3 years ago.
For me, I think definitely we have a shot with them. I mean, just go with me here. I don't think
I agree with you, Jory. I agree with you.
Yeah. So now I'm going to the next part of the pitch. Can we win with the current first choice midfield?
No.
Can we win with current first choice defense?
No.
Can we win with our current first choice goalkeeper?
Yes.
Can we win with our current coach?
Yes.
Can we win with our current chairman?
No.
Exactly. Doesn't matter what we do in the rest. As long as Levy is the chairman, we can't win any of this stuff. If Conte is here and stays here, let's hope that Levy will always be the factor that will fuck it up. And I don't mean like in obvious, stupid things, whatever. I just mean as long as he has a say in these matters, we won't get over the line. That's the truth of it. It's just like having Kane score 3 goals and Eric Dyer and Sanchez letting 3 goals in. It's the same problem. It's just on the institutional side instead of on the field, So we have to face this, and we have to understand. Let's work now to back Conte to get his things through in terms of transfer and stuff like that. And we do that by showing clear support for him and clear pressure on the board. And then let's say it goes well. Let's say we get a response now, and we we get enough of a response to keep us in the top 4 race, and we get into the top 4. This is our project as fans. Is we need a new chairman. We probably need a new ownership for sure. But I'm willing to be open-minded towards, okay, maybe it's fine Enoch owning the club, but the chairman, he's incompetent. He needs to go. He's a gambling, he's a what do you call it, a gambleholic. He always, the only deals, like Levy has this rep for being a master deal maker, which is complete nonsense. Levy, he goes after every weakness that he sees. When he sees some kind of weak club or somebody in need or whatever, then he's interested. That's exactly how he acquired Tottenham, by the way. It was at our very weakest point, and he got us on a complete bargain, And fairness, to be fair, then they've added value, made this club and the equity of the club, like it put it into a completely different stratosphere. But that's exactly, I know this business model so well, because I know so many Icelandic business guys who did exactly this with, for example, the high street shops in England and stuff like that. They saw a Selfridges or whatever being run down, badly managed, completely, completely undervalued for what it really was, which was the real estate, the access to the customer, and so on. And that's the kind of deal that Levy understands. It's not he's no genius for it. It's a very basic business model that many people are doing, and that's what he's doing with this club. And for me, that's fine. You can do that with everything not football related. But if you do that in the football space, now you're just burning up your brand. Now you're like a stupid American accountant coming in, taking a Mercedes-Benz and putting bad steel into it, so it starts rusting within 3 years. And now you have your 100-year-old top-of-the-line brand being subpar to all the other brands now, instead of being the king of the hill. That's what our brand is at the current moment. Once Conte goes, our brand will be destroyed. Tottenham will be destroyed as a place for anybody with ambition to go, whether it be players or managers. I don't even think Potters and that level of managers will be interested after Conte.
He already wasn't interested, was he, Potter, apparently?
Exactly.
No.
He's already turned us down.
Conte's kind of like a last chance saloon in a way for this management to make it work.
Absolutely. And I think also it's important, and one thing I really agree with you guys, and what I think you do brilliantly is to try and keep it in some kind of a healthy space. And we need to look at this problem just like we look at the on-field problems and whatever, and think about solutions and think about constructive ways to deal with it. And for me, it's not even a personal thing. I don't care about Levy. Levy is a nobody. He's not the man for the job. He needs to get out of the way. We need an upgrade for our chairman. That's what we need. Maybe if we upgrade our chairman, then it won't be a problem that Enoch is the owners and they're developing 7 golf courses around the stadium or whatever. Whatever they think is the way to make money. I mean, to actually give them a little bit of credit, they have, or they often kind of want to defend their actions, and I agree with that by saying, if you want to be this top club, you need to be a top earner, and I agree with that, and I do think, apart from the football side, they might be qualified to make sure that the revenue is good. But saying that, I also know that the board so far has not looked at the earnings as something that's going to be put into the coffers for the football side to be fortified. That's not what we've been seeing. But like I said, one problem at a time, and like we need to upgrade everything except for me, except our starting three up front, our goalkeeper, and our manager. That's basically the only things that I can live with, that we continue as our first choice. Everything else needs an upgrade, and the most pressing upgrade of all is a new chairman.
Joey, what steps should the fan base be taking right now, in your opinion?
So, I mean, also, I love Brian, and I like Brian deserves so much respect. He owns so much. He in my mind, Brian owns a part of why Conte is here. I really make that direct a link. Those Levy out chants after the Manchester game were absolutely instrumental in getting Conte in the door. So, and I don't think, like, in your channel and so on, you should really not underestimate the leverage and influence you have, because we live in times where every corporation is hypersensitive to criticism. So, and ours is no different, I think. So, but I would definitely say that we should look at it as like we shouldn't burn out, right? Like in fits of rage, like we're in now, for example. We should simply understand that this is a standing project that we need to work on, and we should maybe, in that view, not let a good crisis go to waste, i.e., pile on the pressure on Levy every time we have to deal with basically something that we can kind of, something that we can track back to basically leave his decisions at some point. So now we're dealing with a complete squad that we need upgrading. If we're acting like this in January, like there's no way that we're going to be upgrading enough for Conte to be competitive. We need, like I think some I don't remember who did the count, but we need like 9-10 players in the door, and some similar amount probably out the door, so if this is how January is going, we're nowhere close to fulfilling what Conte needs, so yeah, I don't know. I mean, I would definitely say Levy out and all of that. I'm not shy about that, like calling for those chants in the stadium. And I think like the North London derby is, of course, the worst kind of a thing. Like if we see a bad result there and a bad performance there, then like I don't know how as a Spurs fan you cannot wake up. Then we have been completely superior to this club in every regard, really, for the last couple of years, and now this club is finally getting some traction again, unfortunately. And while we are sinking with a completely out of date lineup that's been broken for 4 years, so
spot on. And we've got a super chat here from Will Stewart again, and he says, right now we should be chanting in the stadium back Conte. From the 1st of Feb, we should be chanting Levy out. What would you say to that?
No, I mean, I don't agree with that. I mean, like I said, with that, even I mean, the chance, can go both ways. But we should, in my view, I mean, if you don't see that we need a upgrade in chairman, then I don't know what I can say. We are never gonna win anything with Levy as chairman. Never. It doesn't matter if Conte stays. I would even say as much as I mean, of course, if Conte gets the squad that Conte asked for, then sure, we could win something. But I'm saying, as long as Levy's chairman, Conte won't get what he needs. Levy will always make the wrong deal there, try and save a penny, so on. For me, it's also a question, like, because Levy is the conservative, careful, kind of parasitic kind of a businessman, and that's not the businessman we need. We need a businessman like Leeds got. We need one that's ready to roll the dice, who wants to go big risk, big reward. That's where we're at in our development at the club. We need to go for it now, and if we don't, our brand will start shrinking again. And with that, the ambitious players and coaches won't be interested in coming here. So if we don't go for goal now, then the opportunity will be gone, especially with Conte. I mean, it's obvious. We knew this. When Conte comes in, it's to win stuff. If we're not putting the whole house on Conte to win stuff, then we're screwed already. We can't have any reservations. We can't. Oh, but we might have a bad quarter. We might actually go over what our debt forecast is. Blah blah blah. That's over. That was over when Conte came on. And Levy, the only reason you signed Conte was because you were on the way out. And that we need to remember that. We see that now. Levy didn't sign Conte because Levy all of a sudden got ambitious and wanted to win something. Levy signed Conte because he knew he would be kicked off the board by his board members if he didn't soothe the fan base. And they did with the Conte signing, just like they did with the Mourinho signing after Poch. We would have probably gone a long way to getting him out after Potts if it hadn't been for the Mourinho signing, So that's what he does, He's clever at surviving for sure. And looking at how split this fan base still continues to be, you're being played, and that's what Levy knows how to do, So yeah.
All right, Jory. Always a pleasure to speak to you. Great views as always. Hopefully next time in a better occasion.
Likewise, and I thank you for your service, guys. This is really brutal to sit through this. I know this, but also I think the way you keep the conversation, trying to look at what we can do, what the approaches should be, like enabling our fans instead of just being sour and frustrated, is definitely the way to steer the conversation. And you do it in a great way. So big up to you guys.
Thank you, Jory.
Thanks a lot, Jory. And I wanted to make sure I was here for your call because I've been dying for the toilet, so I'm going to go now. But Jory, thanks for coming on, mate, and we'll see you soon.
Right. Take care, Ben and Sim. Bye.
Nice one, Jory. I'll speak to you in a bit. Okay, and we have one more caller coming through as well, so let's get him on. Let's speak to Jordan.
Hi, Sim. How you doing, mate? All right.
Hey, John. You all right? Yeah, I'm all good, mate. It's been a difficult week, really, with the two-legged tie against Chelsea. Really showing up for the squad for what it is, which is definitely not able to compete against these top clubs. We've got the story coming out this morning from Ali Gold saying some players believe that if Conte isn't backed, he could even walk. What is your perspective about goings on at the moment?
So, just to caveat what Ali Gold said, he did come out with a post not long after that saying that Conte had meetings with Paratici, the hierarchy, and the feeling was quite good after those meetings. So I think it's sort of, there's always going to be conflicting information that will always come out around these kind of circumstances. I think Tottenham for the past 3 years have been in rapid decline. I think as a fan base, we need to try and remember, yes, Levy isn't the right man to lead us forward and take us further. However, bringing in Paratici and subsequently then bringing in someone like Conte is the right steps forward. And we need to remember Conte's inherited a squad that is a large portion of Pochettino's players, pepper in some of Mourinho's players, and then sprinkle on top some of Nuno's players. He's inherited a squad of 3 different managers' players, and it's hard for him to galvanise that squad and imprint his vision to the full extent that we want until he starts bringing in his own players. If you look at David Moyes at West Ham, his first season there was to just get over the relegation battle. Fans wanted him out. Fans didn't like him. Fans hated him. Now they want to put a statue up of him because he was given time to build his squad. I hate saying this. Arsenal, look at Arteta. Arteta, yes, I know he fluked the FA Cup in his first season. However, look at what the fan base wanted him out. They hated him. They didn't agree with anything he was doing. And now he's built his own squad and he's built it in his image. You're starting to see a very different team. So Jurgen Klopp at Liverpool, his first season, they finished 8th. They finished 8th. They're out of the Champions League. A lot of fans initially clamoring for him to go. And now he's probably one of the biggest Liverpool managers in history in terms of what he's been able to achieve. So I think there needs to be some patience. And I know we say that quite a lot as a fan base. However, with Paratici and Conte, I think we need to just take a breath, take a step back. I think when Conte came in, he knew exactly what he was coming into. I don't think Paratici would have blindsided him and made false promises. They've worked together in the past, and Paratici knows how Conte works. So I don't think he would have come in and gone, I want to rebuild my squad in January, because let's face it, that's never going to happen. You're never going to rebuild a squad. It's easier to say how many players you'd rather keep than how many players you want to sell. Because let's face it, I'd say probably about 90% of this squad needs to be dismantled and thrown away. So in terms of what a lot of people have been saying, I just want to put it out there to the fan base. Let's just be patient. Let's be calm. Let's get January out of the way and let's see what happens in summer before we start capitulating and going crazy about everything.
But Jordan, I understand the calls for patience, and I'm not criticising it, but do the board deserve the patience? Like, why are we calling for patience? Because Conte wasn't brought in the summer. They decided to go for a cheaper option in Nuno. So Conte didn't have the summer to evaluate his squad, which he should have done. He could have had all this time between now and back in August to know exactly where we should have been. But instead, we ended up getting in November, and then he had to take the whole of December to evaluate his squad. And now we're midway through January, and we're just getting our shit together. Like, does this board deserve the patience that we get if we give it to them?
So I don't think the board deserve the patience. I mean, Brian Daigle makes some really brilliant points. Jory made some brilliant points, and so did Alex in terms of like the board and how everyone feels. I agree with that. This has the echoes of the one-day Ramos situation all over again, where we had to get Harry Redknapp in to rescue us. And Daniel Levy had to make a lot of concessions to bring Redknapp in and give him a lot of control over certain areas. I feel like Conte coming in is, like everyone else has said, is Daniel Levy's last roll on the dice. But for this to work, it needs to be more than just January. He needs the opportunity to build in summer. It's not easy to get rid of players. It's not easy to sign the players that you want that are going to fit. And if, as a fan base, we think we're going to paper over the cracks by going in and getting a load of new players in January, we're deluding ourselves. We will only be successful once we have summer to build the squad that Conte wants. And I think we just need to sort of wait for that. Regardless of who's in charge, it's not going to change the fact that this summer coming up is going to be a huge summer for Tottenham. And the only way we're going to really see what Conte's vision is and how he wants the club to move forward is having that summer to do it. Because let's face it, last night's selection was that Conte saying to the board, this squad's not good enough, because having an out-of-form right wing-back play left wing-back, when you've got Ryan Sessegnon, who at the moment isn't playing great himself, sat on the bench, that to me is a message to the board to say, I need investment. And I agree with you. Everyone wants Levy out. I want Levy out. I don't agree with what Levy does, but nothing's going to change until the summer. We've got to just sort of be patient and ride it out and just sort of hope that we can get through this season. We've said it's a write-off.
If we don't get top 4 this season, though, will Conte be here in the summer? Will Kane want to stay in the summer? Like that drastically affects how things play out.
I think Conte will stay, and I think Conte's selection may be a part of his focus is probably top 4, and why he probably made the team choices he made last night, as well as a kind of message to the board to sort of say this squad isn't good enough. I think his full focus is on trying to get top 4 and achieving that. I do think Conte stays, depending on what we do in summer. That will that will really show whether Conte will stay moving forward. I think he knows this season's a write-off, and top 4 is the ambition. But if we don't get it, I think he'll carry on. In terms of when you bring up Kane and players like him, if he wants to say, I mean, Kane, I don't think has been the same player realistically for about 3 years now. He's lost half a yard of pace. His selections in his running yesterday were quite poor. Lucas would lay the ball into him, and he just wanted the timing between the two of them was so off, and the chemistry between Son and Kane. I think it's sort of, yes, I think Kane is a good player to have around, but let's face it, he should be the be-all end-all to decide whether or not Conte stays or how other players feel. I think this perception of Kane at the moment needs to kind of be dialed back a little bit, because it's sort of I don't think he's world class like everyone wants him to be. To kind of go off topic a little bit.
You know what? I let's be honest. The squad is completely not good enough in terms of. Was that Harry Kane you were saying that that was a bit off the pace last night?
Yeah, he did some good moments, but there was also a lot of moments where there was through balls laid through to him that usually last season he'd run onto, or the season before that. It just looks like his timing and he's lost that bit of pace to him, that he's not in it anymore.
Me personally, I felt Kane was our best player on the pitch last night. I thought he was the one that looked like wanted it the most. I felt like a lot of the passes were very weak to him. I thought the passing was actually bad last night, not Harry Kane's runs, but that's just me, to be honest.
Very bad last night, yeah.
That's just me, to be honest, but I don't know. Maybe it could be what you were saying.
I suppose the question to you guys, though, do you think this season Kane has done well enough to warrant a world-class status?
Obviously not this season, but over the course, even in the past like 2-3 years, he has. But obviously, people say you're only as good as your last game. But Kane is a world-class striker, in my opinion. And yeah, he's not having a great season, but he's still, for me, a world-class striker.
Because for me, I think he was at one point on the cusp of world-class. I definitely believe he was. But I think sometimes we bad word around the world the word world-class too often, because when you look at Cristiano Ronaldo, Lionel Messi, no matter Gareth Bale, when Real Madrid win the final of the cup, and Gareth Bale did that ball where he kicked it, ran off the pitch, ran back on, and then scored the winning goal. Mm-hmm. There are world-class players that will find a way in finals, semi-finals, to get the team over the final line. I don't think Harry Kane has done that in his entire time at Tottenham. He's done some magnificent things, don't get me wrong, but he hasn't done anything that would warrant for me to class him as world-class, whereas I'd say he's probably more on the elite level, more than world-class. And I just think maybe dropping him out of the team for a period of time to let him kind of think that he's not undroppable and give other people opportunities, maybe like a Bergwijn, Lucas and Son as a top 3 that could interchange, might be something that would help the team, if not anything.
Well, let me tell you this. You're talking about Real Madrid, who are a team that are set up for success. You're talking about Tottenham, who are a team who are set up to fail by their board and by their hierarchy. If Tottenham had better players in their squad in and around Harry Kane, I'm sure you'll see Harry Kane producing in those kind of games for us.
I was about to say, if you think if Kane played for Madrid, he wouldn't be scoring goals in semi-finals and finals. Just because he plays for Tottenham and he's our best player, so he gets triple and quadruple marked, and then we have nothing else apart from him, and so it's so hard for him. I think dropping Kane. Go on.
Gareth Bale, when he was at Tottenham before he went to Real Madrid, he was in a team of players
semi-final or final
littered with top quality. And Gareth Bale was the Milan game, the game against West Ham. There was a lot of games where Gareth Bale. I
can pick games where Kane has stepped up in massive games. But when did Bale ever score in a semi-final or a final? I don't remember that.
I think Bale played in one final for us, which was in Man United when we lost on penalties.
Yeah, he was young. He was a youngster then.
Yeah, he was young.
Yeah.
He came on in the Carabao Cup against Man City, obviously, but didn't do anything.
Because I'd say in the big games, maybe Sonny has probably stepped up more than Harry Kane in the big game moments, like the Man City game in the Champions League, and etc. I think, even though I think Kane is a quality player, I like all Tottenham fans, we love Kane. I'm one of those people that puts him in the world-class bracket. And I think,
but Harry Kane is the top goal scorer in North London derbies.
How many has he scored in this year, though?
This year?
We're looking at it in that sense. I mean, if you want to look at Harry Kane's statistics over the last few years, this season he's had a huge drop off, a huge drop
But the
off.
whole team has had a
Lewandowski never
how
had
many
that.
How many shots on target have Spurs had this season? That's not because of Harry Kane. That's because of how we're structurally set up.
Again, if you're a world-class player, you've got to find a way. You've got to find a way. No matter how many times Cristiano Ronaldo has found himself in a position where there's been times where Juventus, the last few seasons, where they've struggled to do certain things, and Cristiano Ronaldo will always find a way to put that ball in the back of the net. Gareth Bale, when he was in Tottenham before he went to Real Madrid,
but when Juventus struggle, they finish fourth. When we struggle, we're like mid-table. It's just different. We're not the club we are.
But it irks me sometimes that we all seem to sort of a lot pins on Harry Kane and him being world class and what he does, and I just think we need to come away from that a little bit and look at it as, it's not the Harry Kane team. We need to look at the team as a whole. It's not good enough across all areas.
I completely agree with that. But it's only the Harry Kane team because we only have Harry Kane. That's not Kane's fault though. That he's our best player and he's our talisman, and we don't have enough quality apart from him around the pitch. Like that's not down because Kane is a world-class striker and the rest of the team isn't world-class. That's my opinion anyway. That's not down to Kane.
Let's just get it right here. The least of our problems right now is Harry Kane.
It would be very detrimental to drop him. It would be very detrimental to drop him.
We need to focus on the other problems at our club, the main problems at our club, which is the hierarchy, which is the state of the squad. Those things. If we put good players in and around Harry Kane, we'd be back to being a good team.
Correct.
Do you guys
dropping
think
Kane would be a nightmare?
We're going to be able to resolve a lot of this in January, though?
No, of course we're not. Of course we're not. I mean, we're going to get 3 maximum in January. Let's be honest, and that's probably a pipe dream.
I was going to say, I think we'd be lucky if we get 2 at this rate.
I
mean, to find the right solution in January isn't easy, and to find a player that's going to give you that right solution, it's going to be so difficult to try and achieve that in January. It really is, because there's a lot of teams that are not going to want to settle to competition or not going to want to lose good players because they themselves are competing. So it's going to be very hard to get and identify the right player to come in at Tottenham. And the fact that we're looking at Adama Traore as a right wing back when his stats are not that great in itself in terms of assists and scoring is frightening, that we're looking at him as a solution over Emerson, who, once Emerson sorts out his final ball, would actually, in my opinion, probably be a better player at right wing back than Traore.
Let's get it right. Serge Aurier probably still gets in our team.
Yeah, I can't believe I'm going to say this. I actually miss Serge Aurier. He'd be such a good fit in that position. It's ridiculous.
He's better than Doherty, that's for sure. Much better than Doherty. I definitely
probably more suited to the and probably got better grips to the Premier League than Emerson right now.
Where do you guys think we're going to end up then? What's your realistic predictions?
It all depends what happens over the next 15 days. It all depends on that. I mean, if we can get 3 signings in, I think maybe we can make a push for top 4. I do believe that. But that's not because we're going to be really good. It's because the top 4 fight is a dogfight at the moment, and no one really wants to take it right now. If we don't make any,
that we're competing with the likes of Arsenal, Man United, who are exactly, there's not a massive gap between us at the moment in terms of quality.
Yeah, especially in terms of results anyway. But where I think we'll finish if we don't make signings, I think maximum 7th, 6th, max 6th if we're lucky.
Does it concern you though that we keep playing players like Tanganga, who, let's face it, should be protected a little bit more? Because last night I would never have started him. I would never have played him with the heat he's been under and the pressure he's been under. Having a player like him and throwing him in at deep end again is such a risk for his development.
It concerns me, but what else are we going to do? We only have Joe Rodon, who Dies out, Romero's out. We don't have the squad. We have to rely on players like him. It's not like it's not like
a back 4 maybe for this game.
Could have gone for a back 4.
Try and manage the game in a better way.
But that's his formation. It's how he likes to play with a back 3. That's his system. So,
yeah, but surely there should be different variations for different games, and shouldn't just stick with a back 3 every single game.
Because at points yesterday we did revert to a back 4, and we actually looked better when we reverted to the back 4 when we had that good spell against Chelsea, and we were actually sort of creating a little bit more. So it's sort of. I'm not saying I like what Conte does, and I think Conte, to get Harry Winks passing the ball forward for starters is crazy. So I back Conte and what he's going to do, and I back Paratici. This is why I'm saying that maybe we should be patient and let summer happen before we start sort of capitulating and saying the season's over. This season was always going to be a write-off. The fact that we started this season with Nuno tells you this season was a write-off. Like, the board didn't know what they were doing. But with Conte there and what he's been able to do, I genuinely believe next season, if we back him in the right way in the summer, we're going to see something completely different. We really.
But if we
will.
go for
patience is massive.
If we go for a back four, who do you play centre back?
Out of the players that played last night,
you put Davis in a 2. Would you do that?
I would put Davies at centre back. I'd put him at left centre back.
Then he's going to get absolutely bullied. You can't play in a 2, Davis, a centre back.
But would you play Doherty at left wing back?
I wouldn't.
I think the problem is last night he was trying to prove a point to the board. He was shackled with what he could do in terms of players available. But Ben Davies has probably been one of our better centre backs lately than sort of Sanchez and Tanganga. And I probably would have took the risk to have put Sessegnon left back, Ben Davies in the centre back with Sanchez, just to give us some form of fighting chance. I just don't think at the moment it was right to put a player like Tanganga.
I don't know. Then you're changing the whole system just to not play Tanganga, basically.
It's also to give us a chance because we were getting flooded out in midfield. We looked so ropey in midfield with just 2 attacking players. When you've got wing backs because Conte's system relies on the wing backs being your creative outlet, and when you've got Emerson that can't whip a ball in, and you've got Doherty who can't play at left wing back, where are you going to get the creativity from?
Yeah, but
so maybe switching to a back 4 would have been a better option than relying on players that just aren't performing.
What's just the squad?
How, like, in terms of why we're not performing to... So Conte has a squad available to him. He has a way of playing. And it's due to the lack of quality of the squad why it's not as easy to create chances.
Conte's original system when he went to Chelsea was a back 4. He played 4-3-3 and 4-2-3-1, and he only changed it because of the game against Arsenal. So he is adaptable. He can play in different ways.
No, but true. He can, but he was a back 4 because Chelsea were a back 4 team. He always wanted to be a back 3. When he came in, Chelsea's system they were used to at the beginning was a back 4, so he stuck with that for the time being, and then it was going horribly wrong, so he went to what he knew, which was a back 3, and then it started going right.
Do you think our wing backs in Reguilon, Emerson, and Sessegnon and Doherty are really good enough to really take us on to finishing in the top 4 this season? Because I think
Reguilon the left side, but definitely not the right side.
Reguilon and Sessegnon I quite like. I think they're decent, but I think Emerson needs competition.
Last night was just woeful. Like he could beat a first man. It was ridiculous. Kept passing it to a man in blue rather than a man in white.
But I do actually think under Conte so far, after he got sent off in that Europa Conference League game, I think Sessegnon's been good for us. I really do believe that.
Yeah, I agree. I think he stepped it up and he does look a hell of a lot better. Last night, I didn't think he did himself too many favours, but nor did the majority of that squad. Do you think that we're going to see a different team against Arsenal this weekend then?
Yeah, I mean, I imagine one of Sessegnon or Reguilon will play left wing back. It'll still be Emerson. Hopefully, touch bloody wood that Eric Dyer will be back in the squad. I think Skip will play as well. And apart from that, it'll be... I mean, we're down to our bare bones, aren't we, with the injuries? We're just getting such detrimental injuries at the wrong time. Sonny out. I mean, it's so hard. It's just so hard. And obviously, Lloris will play, won't he? So...
Do you think maybe it's worth, because I know he's tried Dele Alli in a multitude of different positions, sort of like left of the top 3, and then he played him in the centre, then he played him as a false number 9. Do you think this is a good opportunity maybe when you need a player that can run into the box and play off of Kane? This is a good opportunity to maybe say to Dele, here's your last chance. What we'll do is we'll set up with the back 3, have the 2 wing backs, have Skip and Højbjerg with Dele behind Lucas and Kane running in, rather than being in the centre of the park where he's ineffective.
I guess Dele as opposed to having Lo Celso or Winks, I guess.
Yeah, because let's face it, Dele doesn't know how to put the ball in the back of the net when he's running off of Kane. Them two had such a great partnership. So if you were to sort of say that again and sort of say to Dele, don't worry about tracking back. You've got Skip and Højbjerg that will plug up the gaps and that will spread the ball. All I want you to do is just make those runs that you know how to do. Get in the box, make yourself a pest. Don't worry about your tackles and things like that. All I want to do is see you be aggressive and get in that box.
Look, it could potentially work, but the only problem I have with it is, like, We've been stung so many times with Delhi. Every time Delhi comes in, you're like, yeah, Delhi's back. He's going to put in a great performance. And then he's just been consistently shocking for 3 years now.
No, I do agree with that. I do agree. But then your other options are you've got Lo Celso, who can't play more than 65 minutes, Ndombele, that is he good enough for us? I mean, he's for me, he's the cheap man version of Paul Pogba at Man United. Who do we put in that position to help create goals?
Yeah, it's difficult. It's difficult.
That's the problem. That's the situation that this board has put us in with the state of this squad. Years of neglect and years of bad investments.
But I'm hoping when Conte does get that summer to rejuvenate the squad with Paratici, I think we're going to see something different. This really does have echoes of the Ramos, Harry Redknapp situation. Daniel Levy had to release a certain amount of control to get somebody to save the club. Conte has been brought in to save our club, and I genuinely believe that Levy has had to sort of release certain things to get Conte in. Look at it, he already brought in the amount of the summer when we were originally linked with Conte. The hold-up was that he wouldn't bring in all of Conte's staff. He wouldn't bring in all the coaches that he wanted to bring in, the fitness coaches. We were in such a bad position that they had to make a change, and they had to basically bend over and give Conte whatever he wanted. And I think a part of that agreement is that he gets final say on who comes in the summer, and that's why I'm not worried at the moment. I think this season has to be written off like it was in Jurgen Klopp's first season for Liverpool. We have to wait until the summer.
But
we don't make the changes, fair enough. Get your pitchforks and your torches and go and riot. But right now, we just need to call for patience and just wait until that summer's over.
I just don't think we're in a position where we can write the season off with players aging. Son's 29, Kane's 28. Kane's already made murmurings of wanting to leave. Conte's not a manager to wait around. You know what I mean? I just don't know if we're in a position to just write the season off. I think we have to achieve something this season in terms of either top four or maybe a trophy or something.
But again, the selection last night tells me he's focusing on the league.
Yeah.
The players that he picked last night, he's got to be focused on the league. But if we don't make top four, I don't think as a fan base we should lose our shit over it. We should just hold fire and get the summer over and done with. Because let's face it, if we finish fifth, it's an upgrade on the last 2 seasons.
Depends. Yeah, I guess it depends how close we are to fourth and stuff. If we make a good fist of it.
We need to be
competitive.
That's all it asks. Just be competitive. You know what I mean? We haven't been competitive in the last couple of years. Just be competitive in this top 4 race. And I'm telling you, if we were to get 2 or 3 signings in this January, in the next 15, whatever it is, 17 days, we can be competitive in this top 4 race. And at the moment, we are competitive in it. But if we don't make any signings, I tell you, we'll fall by the wayside very quickly.
It depends on the signings we bring in. Who do you think we could bring in that will help elevate us to be more competitive?
Well,
I don't think Adama Traore does that for us, personally.
Well, I actually disagree. I think Adama Traore would add a lot to this team. On the right wing back, he's not. If we were going to bring him in as a replacement for Bergwijn, I completely agree with you. It's just like for like, pretty much end product for end product. But if we were to bring in as a right wing back, him bringing us up the pitch from that position would be absolutely brilliant for us. He will always take away a few defenders, which will leave us out spaces all over the pitch. I'm actually a massive fan of bringing in Adama Traore as a right wing back. Massive.
Do you not think his final delivery, though, is a little bit lacking at times? Because I think that's the biggest sort of cry out from Wolves fans, is that he's not very good at whipping a ball in the box.
Zero goals and 0 assists this season. Last season, it wasn't that much better. The season before under Nuno, he got himself 10 assists and about 7 goals, right? That shows he has it in him. Conte has a knack of doing it to these players. Victor Moses.
He did it with Victor Moses, didn't he?
You know what I mean? He's done it with plenty of players over the time over the past.
So
if Conte thinks he's a guy
for you, what 2 other players do you think make us competitive then?
Midfielder. I don't know which players it is, but a midfielder.
Because I just don't think there's a vast amount of players that are going to be available this January that are going to progress us any further, unfortunately.
If we put in the money, if we put down the monny and
it's not about. I don't think it's about necessarily having players to massively improve the team, but we need to add depth to this squad. So if players get injured, for example, if we had a player of similar level to even let's say Dyer, right? He's not the best player in the world, but let's say we had a player similar level to Dyer to come in if Dyer was injured. that would mean that if Dyer gets an injury, we can still keep the same level of team. Right now, if Dyer's injured, it's Rodon or Tanganga. A massive drop-off. Massive. So I don't necessarily think we need players to massively improve us. We just need depth so that when we have injuries like we do right now, the team isn't massively dropping off. That's just what we need. I think in terms of
that's
level,
only the case though as a stopgap from now to the end of the season.
yeah, but he's talking about now in January.
But I think we need to be signing players that can improve our first 11 so we can have a better outlook on for a longer term thinking. You know what I mean? If we just bring in players now that are at the same level as the players we got now, in a year's time, in 6 months' time, we're going to be stuck with them again and
we're
not
talking
having
about,
to get them out the door.
Yeah, but we're talking about January. He's saying, I don't think we can sign players right now in January, which can massively progress us. I'm just saying, I don't think we need to. Though. I'm just saying, I don't think we need to.
I think we do need to.
I don't
think the bigger picture.
To get top 4, I'm talking about to get top 4.
Yeah, it's fine to get top 4, just to get top 4. But you also got to look further than that in the bigger picture, not just about getting top 4.
That's why I think maybe we take that gamble, and if we can get the right player in January, fair enough, do it, crack on. But if we can't, I don't want to get like when I see we're linked with is it Todd Cantwell at Norwich? When I see we've been linked previously with players like that, I think, oh, this is not the level we need to be going for. I know we've got an English quota we need to hit for homegrown players, but realistically, I think Paratici's really good at what he does, and he has so many different deals on the go at once, and he's spinning a lot of different plates at once. But realistically, if you want to see Tottenham progress and move forward, it has to be in the summer. It really does. I think we're going to push for top 4, and we're definitely going to chase it. If it doesn't happen, I think it is what it is. We have to wait until next season. We have to wait till the summer and see what happens, because realistically, the board are so scared that they don't want another Jedson Fernandez situation. They don't want another Steven Bergwijn situation where they're bringing players in January. They find that they're not really up to it, and then they're stuck with them on the books, or they have to wait until they cancel the loan. So I think it's going to be so hard to identify those opportunities that come summer, you've got a lot more scope. You've got a lot of players that are coming to the end of their contracts, into the last 12 months of their contract. Look at Vlahovic. You know, if I'm not saying we will, but if we sign the striker like that, we're not going to sign him in January, but we've got a hell of a chance of signing him in the summer. And I think that's when we're going to be striking. I think that's when you're going to see whether Conte stays or goes. We have to wait till the summer. I just don't think we're going to get the right caliber of player to progress us forward in January.
All right, Jordan. Just before you go, the super chat for you from Jory, and he says, Jordan, you don't get it, mate. No top 4 equals Kane to Man City, equals no Dusan, equals no Kessie, no Champions League revenue, equals no big budget. Want to reply to Jory?
Yeah. So, I'm a big fan of Jory. I think he's a really clever bloke and really quite smart with everything he says. And I agree with a lot of what he says. However, if we're not going to be able to spend big money to sign players in January. It's just not going to happen. And I get what people are saying about we have to finish top 4, but sometimes you have to see the forest through the trees and understand that when Conte was brought in, he wasn't brought in to sort of win the Premier League this season. I know that's a bit of an extreme. It's all about next season. Conte came in knowing what to expect. I still believe, even if we finish top 5, we could still attract players. You said it yourself earlier, Ben, that you don't always need Champions League to attract big players. We've got a huge stadium. We've got the world's best manager. Keeping hold of Conte will be what attracts those big players, the project that they are working on. Stop buying in all these players like your Brian Hills and things like that are all project players. Go and get well-established, proven players that Conte wants and build the team to Conte's specifications. And I guarantee it, next season, you'll see a very different Tottenham. You'll see a different outlook on Tottenham because it will be Conte's team. If we don't do that, I agree. Yeah, we're stuffed. But I don't think finishing a Champions League position this year is the be-all and end-all. I think it's backing Conte and believing in what he wants to do and backing that project is what will get us to where we want to go. But we're not going to do that in January. And whether Conte has what it takes to help us finish top 4, that's up for debate. But it will be the summer. If we don't finish top 4, I don't think it's the end of the world. I think it's the summer is where everything hinges.
All right, Jordan. Great call, mate.
Thank you ever so much, guys.
Nice one, Jordan.
Good to speak to you, my friend.
Good call, mate.
And hopefully we'll speak to you soon.
Yeah, keep up the brilliant work, guys. You're doing an amazing job.
Thanks a lot, mate.
Thanks a lot, Jordan.
See you.
Cheers, guys. Bye-bye.
There was a super chat that we missed from Sebastian Wolf. He says, let's be honest, our first 11, even with Sondai and Reguilon yesterday, we wouldn't have been able to win. We are miles away from top 4 level, in my opinion. And yeah, I mean...
I would agree in other seasons. I just think in this season, we're just not. I just don't think anyone else is that good. So, I mean, look, you can say it's lucky or whatever, but I don't think we're just not... In terms of who's competing for top 4, we're not miles away.
Yeah, there's a long way to go. And I do believe that if we don't make any signings, we will fall by the wayside pretty quickly.
Yeah. I mean, it all depends. If we don't make any signings and we stay injury free, then I don't think we would. But if we're you can't rely on that.
No, you cannot.
We had a super chat from Will, but I've lost it. Where was it? This one as well from Rambo. To read that out. If we don't get top 4, Conte stays, Kane leaves, and partially funds our summer spending.
There's one here from Pixels Pencil saying, I see Traore as a great signing. He'll draw other players to him, so other players free in space to create chances. Hopefully one of many players in. I mean, we're losing time, mate.
Jory again as well said, we won't make any big summer signings without Champions League. Jack Lane says 5 to 6 years ago, Spurs had a foundation. Failure from then. Let most of it go cheap or without replacement. Enix finance expertise is a myth on squad assets. And Will has made a chant.
You're going to sing it for us?
What tune is it to?
I don't know.
Back Conte or I'm giving up on you. Will be the one if you won't do. Anywhere we will have followed you. Back Conte or I'm giving up on you, said Will. What tune is that to?
Will, come on in one of the shows and sing it for us. We want to know the tune. But is there anyone else?
Is it say something, I'm giving up on you?
Maybe. Could be. I
Is
don't
that
even know
one?
what that song is, though.
Yeah, it's a song. Back
What
Conte,
song is that?
I don't know. It's called Say Something, is it, or something?
By who?
Don't know.
Oh.
I don't know who it's from.
Okay. Is there any more guests? No. Okay, let's leave it there then. Nice 3 hours and 15 minutes of therapy from last night.
That was a long one.
Guys. Will Stewart says it is that song.
It is that song. That's the song. Okay.
Okay. So yeah, Will, we want to see you come on and sing that song for us. One more super chat before we go from KJ Hotspur saying Zakaria is 8 million. Surely we can't not look at that. I don't know about Zakaria. I mean, he's just another holding midfielder, isn't he?
Yeah. He wouldn't be my priority. A good player, though.
He is a good player, but yeah, it's not priority. Rohan Rajani says Spurs are maybe to... I mean, what's that? So Spurs are maybe to Spurs for Conte to solve.
Spurs, maybe saying Spurs or maybe too Spursy.
Oh, yeah, probably is.
Probably
yeah.
true.
Not wrong there. But look, we move. North London derby this weekend. Player ratings coming your way very soon. Predict the Prem coming your way very soon. And also probably a Tottenham update as well. So much more content to come today. Thank you everyone for joining in the stream today. Comments, callers and the like. We'll see you all very soon. Like, subscribe and comment. And as always, come on you Spurs.